Oh, yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'm Wolfban, and you're tuning in to All Facts Podcast. We appreciate you guys for tuning in with us, but be fair warned, as you continue your listen, that some facts are going to be hard to swallow. What's going on, man? What's going on with you, Fred?
What up?
Doing good, man.
Yeah, man. I'm chilling.
Yeah, man. How you been?
I've been good, bro. I've been working.
Talk to the people about what you do, because you weren't here last week for the savant himself, Mr. Malcolm Jessup Jr., but you were out doing your own illustrious activities. You know what I'm saying? Because what people don't know, Fred could be a guest all by himself. I'm elated to have him as a co-host, but he could be a guest all by himself. Talk to the people.
I appreciate that, man. I'm just I'm a musician.
Yeah.
I'm also a music teacher. My family owns a nonprofit called Huntsville Community Drumline. Shout out to Huntsville Community Drumline. Give it up one time. It's a solid little place. We got kids 1st through 9th grade. I also got some grandmasters that are, of many ages. Most of them could be a grandparents. We just do a lot of drum stuff.
Explain to the people what the grandmaster is. Explain.
Okay, so so it's like a play on the name of the younger groups, which the main group they're called the Stickmasters.
Okay,
right? That's the 5th through 9th graders. They're the ones that pretty much everybody sees performing all the time.
Okay,
and then we have, based off that, we got the mini masters, which is the 1st through 4th grade. They're like the babies. It's kind of like our feeder program. And then last year or 2 years ago, my mom got the idea to add a grandmaster program as a way of like reaching out to seniors. Kind of helps with memory and just getting them out the house, exercise. If y'all don't know, like, seniors need stuff to do.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they need activities and they need people to spend time with them, because sometimes they be up in these senior seats. I think something changed. I don't know. Something sounds different in my mic, but
I'll check on it.
But they be up in these places, and sometimes it's kind of like people forget about them. But they're really cool, and they hungry to learn and hungry to be active and be social, and they'll talk to you about anything. And I could really talk about this for a long time, but I don't want to, because some of my opinions might be kind of controversial.
That's what we want, bro. We're doing a show. I need all of the controversial opinions. Huh?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't want them to hear my controversial opinions and then like associate me with.
They ain't gonna listen. They ain't gonna listen to this show.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we get canceled or whatnot. Like,
no. I ain't worried about getting canceled. I've heard so much atrocious shit these past couple of. I was like, if they getting away with that, I know good and well that I'm like, I ain't.
People doing a lot and saying a lot.
Yeah,
like, it's crazy. But yeah, bro, I just do music all the time, man. Like, it's pretty much my life.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Being in a position to wake up and do something that you love to do is a beautiful position to be in life. Yes, Yeah, that's what's up, man. If you had any advice, because I know that some of it was started by your family. Am I right about that? Yeah.
Definitely.
If you had any advice though for people of any age, it's not directed towards a specific age, but about finding what you love to do and sticking to it, doing it, and how important it is for you to find that thing.
Well, I do have advice. I will preface this statement by saying that I am not in any way, shape, or form at a level that I want to be at, or a level that I feel like I have valid advice to give.
Poppycosh.
But what I know, I am more than happy to share.
Sure.
And what I believe in my whole heart is that, one, you gotta trust God.
Okay.
And whatever God is to you, then trust that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to tell you which God or what God is. I can tell you what God is to me, but that's for everybody to define on their own. But one, you have to trust God, and then two, you have to just be consistent. I think most people fail because they stop.
Right.
And a lot of times when you're doing anything for the first time, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be awkward. And people are not going to really always respect you for it. Or they might really respect you for it, and then the respect could drop off. But either way, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. And I think a lot of times people see some of the valleys and they stop in the valley, and then they don't realize that on the other side of that was a really high peak that they could have rode for a really long time.
Right.
And even after those peaks, there's going to be more valleys, and then more peaks and more valleys. And each one is a lesson to be learned and a new skill to be added to your person. So if I have any advice that's worth giving, it's just whatever it is that you decide to do, just keep doing it, and don't do it until you're successful. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And even if you add more to it and do other shit. Like now I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just keep doing what it is that you want to do. And then, it may work out, it may not. But if you love to do it, you'll never know the difference. So.
Yeah. Because to me, success is the continuous advent of completing the journey. Because the journey just ends when you die.
Yeah, exactly.
Success is you're successful so long as you're on the road and going.
Yeah.
And we tend to judge success by a certain, like when we see people that have traveled a certain distance down this life journey and where they've gotten to and what they've accomplished. But a lot of people go real far down the wrong road, and they don't feel successful. They don't feel accomplished. They don't feel complete.
Yeah.
So it most certainly is important to find the thing that you want to do, And it's certainly different for everybody. You have different levels of difficulty in life. That famous quote, "God made man, but Samuel Colt made him equal." You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people out here that just don't have the same ivory tower as everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes success looks like it's easier for some people than other people. But staying on that journey is going to be what adds value to it for you. That's what's going to give it the intrinsic value for you. Yeah, I fucks with that.
And I think people got to be wary of just defining success by other people's definitions.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever success looks like to you, then that's success.
Yeah.
And if somebody else doesn't like your version of success, then that's okay. It's not for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, some people look at it as having a big house. Some people look at it as having no house or 10 houses, or
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
some people's version of success is getting off the fucking grid. They don't even want to have shit. They want to be somewhere where you don't even know nothing about them.
In a cabin or like a bunker,
sometimes not even that. It's really wild people out here that really just want to be to themselves out in the wood. They'll get a tent.
Man,
you got people that are voluntarily homeless.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
but I get it.
Yeah,
yeah, grid is crazy.
Yeah. That's one of the things. We're getting ready to head out to Nevada, to Vegas, and that's one of the things that I love about out there is all of the different genre of people that you just meet while you on the other side of the United States. Because the United States, we take for granted how freaking immaculately huge it is. Yeah. Most countries are like the size of Texas. Yeah. That's a country. Yeah. And those states out there are huge. And so you have this vast variety of people and you come in contact with them, and you get, like, say you get an Uber, I talk to people, I talk to them and just hearing their life story. Last time we were out there in January, we were talking to a lady, and she was around. She remembers the LA riots, and she was talking about, because I asked about it. I said, you lived in LA X amount of years. Do you remember the LA riots? She was just like, child, I was a part of the riots. So it was you just meet people, and then when you, if you're like me, if you're anything like me, I like attaching people's ages to different points in history that correspond with how old they might have been at the time. Yeah. So it's just like, oh, so you were around this age when this was going on. Do you remember it? And I ask people different things all the time about when I meet them. I ask people different things, but that one was particularly interesting because of how how at peace she was with her life. Like she was just, she drove Uber. She had her little daily activities and stuff like that. She talked to us about. It's a lot of people out here in the world, and we so often get so caught up in our own little echo chambers, our cities, our little bubbles. Not even just our cities, but our the microcosms in our cities. It might be my community, it might be this hood over here, it might be whatever. We get so caught up in that we feel like that's the world sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. And like we don't realize that there are ideas, people, circumstances that are way beyond the scope of this little small area that you've been in. You know what I'm saying? That's that I don't know how we got there.
Bruh, wait, okay, so like but this is what I love about like older people, because they're so open with their stories. Bro, I was sitting when you said about the LA riots, that reminded me, because I was sitting over talking to this older gentleman, and he was just talking about how his family grew up on a farm, right? And they were talking about kind of like economics, basically how it used to be. He said it used to be 7 black families that lived on this farm, and mind you, this is down the street, like 45 minutes away, like where I play church at, play for my church or whatever. And like I drive past all these farms, and I'm just like, they're huge, right? I mean, the farm, like it's crazy, like it's Tyson factory out there and all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of shit out there. So he was like, it used to be 7 black families that worked on that farm and did all the milking or did, whatever jobs they had. And then now it's one farmer that does the entire job. And he was just almost saying how, times have changed, but how, like, is it really a good thing? Because it's like now 7 families are, like, that was sustaining 7 families, and now it's one dude. It didn't. And it's the same dude. You know what I mean? Like, his grandson, but I don't know. Like the way he was just telling the story about like living on the farm, and it's almost like he was a slave, but he wasn't a slave because he wasn't old enough to be. Like a sharecropper, I guess. Probably so.
That's actually a perfect analogy, a perfect depiction of a point that I would make sometimes about the reason why capitalism has changed and evolved in society in America over the years. There was a period of time where, like what you just depicted, where a farm could it would take that many people to operate it. And over time, we've gotten to a point to where things can be automated, but not only that, some things become mandatory things in life. Like, for example, it was a point in time where having a cell phone, that was a luxury thing, right? Having a car was a luxury thing. Now you can't operate in society without a cell phone or a car. You know what I'm saying? And it's gotten so crazy to the point now where this is a strange fact that I figured out. I hope I'm not stepping on my own toes here. But more people have cell phones in the world than they have toilets. There are more owners of cell phones than there are owners of toilets.
That tracks. Because, I mean, like, I saw somebody sitting, and they were, like, clearly homeless the other day, but it appeared that they were just scrolling. And I was like, I know you're not on TikTok with, like, I don't want to be disrespectful, like, with your homeless, like, what are you doing? Why do you have Wi-Fi? Like, where is the signal coming from? And she was just, but I mean, like, sitting next to a big old shopping cart, and I'm not here to judge anybody. It's like, that's crazy to me. But I mean, to be fair, phones are more accessible, because to have a toilet, you have to have a house or an apartment. So it's just like, it's not like you can she could be homeless, or they could be homeless walking around with a toilet. It don't do you no good though if you ain't got it attached to a house. Set it down somewhere. I don't think this is nice.
Hey, yeah, you see some homeless dude walking around with a toilet, be like, at least they got a pot to piss in. Hey, Fred scared the life.
I am, man. Like,
hey, but no, that's
stay on the north side. I see homeless people every day. And if they got the internet, they gonna hear this.
Hey, that'll be all right. We shout out to y'all. We give y'all shout outs. We don't just talk about y'all.
Fuck with your OG.
Yeah, for sure.
I got some change for you.
But the point that I was making was that now that stuff like that is become ingrained in society, and we can't operate without these things.
Yeah.
And so capitalism has driven the economy to a point to where it takes more to maintain, because when you have the price of something go up because the demand for it is high, you have this influx of work, sure, but what happens when that thing becomes automated, right? Where only one person or a couple of people need to do the job, right? And you're still getting the same output, you're still getting the same whatever. And so you have less people that have these jobs. And not only that, but market price for stuff still continues to go up. So you have more people who don't have jobs because they just aren't needed, right? But housing is still going up. Eggs are still going up. Food is still going up. And so you have a lot of people that are forced to settle for some other job, or some other job that they might not even be skilled at, that they might make less money doing, you know what I'm saying? That concept is why I'm adamant about making it very clear that if you are middle class or lower middle class, you should not have the idea that, or you shouldn't feel the pressure, because it's the pressure that I'm talking about. You can do it if you can sustain it, but it's the pressure of feeling like you have to supply everything for your partner as a pre-qualification for marriage. You gonna get what I'm saying?
Something about being a breadwinner, like
yeah. Because the thing about the economy is, and we've talked about this extensively. DJ Mood talked about this when he was here, about how the economy now is set up for the 2-parent household. The economy is set up so that you have your pensions and you have your stuff at the end of after you've worked for a job for 60 odd years for both parties. You have these you have all of these different systems in place in the economy that support a 2-parent, or not a 2-parent, but a 2-job household. So if you can do it, I'm not telling you to not do it. I'm talking about the pressure, because I feel like that pressure has, and I honestly did not intend on this podcast being about this, but that that pressure I think is what is a dividing force between men and women in society. This is what I mean by that. Women tend to have this idea, not just women. I don't want to phrase it like that. People in general have this idea that a man's value is, and it's a loose idea, but people tend to believe that a man's value is defined by how much money he makes. That's why men's clothes are so expensive. It's why, there's this whole craze in the manosphere about being a high value man. It's all of these crazy ideas. This idea to me fails to take into consideration this one thing about capitalism, and that's that it doesn't require that a lot of people are poor. But when you have when you do it the wrong way, when capitalism fails in a country, you're going to have a vast number of people that are going to be poor, right? And so unless you live in an economy, a system, a socioeconomic place where you have a capitalistic system that is done effectively, you're bound to have people who are just by default, It's not about them lacking skill. It's not about them lacking anything. They just aren't going to be born into a family, or they're not going to be around the resources, or they're not going to be around the whatever to just on a base level have money or the resources to attain money the way that these other people do, right? Now the ploy of capitalism is this, that anybody should be able to make X amount of money. But that conversation, if we're gonna have that conversation, we also have to talk about how there are certain mental illnesses associated with poverty, and poverty not being defined by how much does it take to make a living. Poverty being defined by, when I say poverty, what I'm saying is really if you're actually poor and maybe lower middle class. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of people who fit that description still live in close proximity to one another. So people who are in lower middle class are still susceptible to the same types of environmental factors as people who are genuinely poor, right? You know, you're more likely to live around homelessness if you're lower middle class. You're more likely to live around these same conditions, right? Yeah. That conversation, if we're going to talk about it, we got to talk about how you're more likely to I don't know if develop is the right word, but you're more likely to develop schizophrenia. You're more likely to have borderline personality disorder. You're more likely to have anxiety. You're more likely to have all of these things that we see rampant in our communities, and we wonder why. And
we probably need a fact check on that.
No, for sure. You go ahead.
Because like anxiety and bipolar disorder, I feel like those are almost like privileged diseases. I don't.
Go ahead, look it up. Make sure I'm right. I feel like they most certainly can be. Like, what mental illnesses are associated with poverty?
Okay.
And tell me what you find, because a lot of environmental factors cause us to think some wacky shit.
Depression and anxiety comes from a wide-ranging set of random. Well, hold on, let me see. What mental disorders are associated with poverty is clearly linked with a number of mental health problems, including schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety. Okay, that's fair. All right. Well, there you go.
It's not to say that it's not, because and once again, this is a very effective communication tip that I've learned from therapy. Anytime you don't know, that ain't what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, anytime you say something, it's very effective to say what you're also not saying, because a lot of times when we say stuff, people think that people include stuff that we're also not saying as well. So I'm not saying that it's not a privileged thing and it's something that exclusively happens to poor people by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that you have a higher propensity to acquire these health defects as a result of growing up and living in these types of conditions.
Yeah.
And so when we have this conversation, we assume that people born, or at least in my mind, when I hear people have this conversation, we assume that people are born of equal status. And by status, I mean economic status, health status, and all of this other stuff. And then to turn around and say, that a man should be able to supply X, Y, and Z. That alone puts a tremendous amount of pressure for people who are already, once again, you don't even have to be poor. You can be lower middle class. All you have to do is be associated with poor conditions, right? In my mind, when it's just like, okay, that means that I have to grind. That means that I have to do all of this other stuff. And you have this pressure to perform and compete with people who are privileged. Who have this ivory tower. I, for one, had an ivory tower. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't grow up in no hood. I didn't grow up in impoverished conditions. I never had to worry about what food was coming from. Yeah. Never had to worry about that. You know, so
I mean, but like, I feel like we have to be careful how we define an ivory tower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, you know,
it's most certainly subjective.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, you know, I didn't necessarily struggle or, you know, have to worry about where food is growing up. But like, I know a lot of motherfuckers who had a whole lot more shit than, you know, like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, an ivory tower to me, like, I mean,
it's situational. Yeah, it's situational. Because, for example, something that I view as an ivory tower, and this is just me opening up and being very vulnerable, something that I view as an ivory tower is I don't live with the stress, in the background of my mind. I don't live with the stress of wondering when my parents are gonna die, because they're already dead. You know, they passed away when I was younger, so I go through life forgetting that people have parents. I'd be like, oh yeah, you got to be with your mom and daddy. Go ahead, do your thing. Mm-hmm. I'd be actually having to think about that, you know, because it's been so long since I've had to consider it. Mm-hmm. And so I consider it to some degree to be an ivory tower because I just don't have that stress, you know? And so it's kind of oxymoronic, maybe.
I think that's just a strong way of looking at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody else who was like a pessimist might, you know,
be like, oh man, I wish I had. Yeah, for sure. You know. That's why I said it's most certainly subjective. I'm agreeing with you. It's most certainly subjective.
But like, okay, so for me, like I went to private school, and a lot of the people.
Come on, private school.
But okay, so boom, that's a perfect example. That's how most people react. Like, oh man, you went to private school, like woo woo. But for me, like I still grew up on the north side. My private school was on the north side, but all the niggas that was in there, and they weren't niggas. Most of them, but they were rich. Yeah, like they had big money. Right. You know, like.
And so, did you ever feel
bro, I was the poor, like damn near the poorest kid in the school. Like I don't want to say like I don't want to shit on my parents. Like they did a good job. We was straight. Like,
relative to these other
you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, like I did not have what they had.
Did you feel as far as you can remember? I understand that you were young and like economics really wasn't necessarily on the forefront of your mind as it shouldn't be for any.
It was definitely on the forefront of my mind, bro. Like these people were driving cars to school, right? Like nice cars, and mind you, I had a car, so it's like I can't really be, you know, like I can't say, you know, oh, I didn't have shit, like I didn't get it out the mud or nothing like that, but. He's like, I was driving my stepbrother's, you know, hand-me-down Mustang when these kids was like pulling up in like new Mustangs, like 09, like at the time, and it was 09. You know, you feel what I'm saying? Like, so it was just it was levels to it, and it was, you know, people. I'm not gonna say that they made me feel bad for being that way, because you know I had good people around me, and I'm the type of person, like if somebody makes me feel uncomfortable, I'm not gonna be around you. Because either we're gonna fight or
he said we're gonna fight.
Like it's gonna be a problem. So I'm just not gonna hang out with you. Yeah. And I'm not gonna subject myself to any type of abuse. Like under no circumstances. But it was still like I knew that they knew that I knew that they knew that I ain't had no bread. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot. And you know, because I didn't, you know, want for anything, it's almost like a clause in, or it's like almost like a paradox in itself, because you know, because you don't have these issues, but you're not that.
Yeah, no, that's a real thing. That's like that's a very real thing.
So it's like, what do I have to complain about? But it's like, but damn, no, I don't have that.
That's that. It's not my point, but that's a mechanism of my point. You still have stuff to complain about, in the sense that you are around people and you had this pressure in your mind where you felt like you probably had to compete in certain areas with these people. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real thing. People, I hate that we associate whether or not someone should feel a way about something based off of the absolute worst they could be. Yeah. You know, granted, when stuff is going bad, you can look at the absolute worst and be like, at least it's not that. Yeah. Right. And at least let me be like, that's a positive way to look at it. But let's not pretend, right? Let's be a buck about it. If all of us right now, everybody listening, if all of us had the opportunity to have $1 million, we get that shit. Yeah. We'd get that shit.
Real quick.
Real quick. You can say that, oh man, I'm good, I'm living my life. You could, if I had $1 million, I would still want that $1 million. Now I got two.
Yeah, you feel me?
Now I got two.
As
you know what
many
I'm
as I can
saying?
get.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we got to quit with this thing where we only associate whether or not we have the right to complain with whether or not how your proximity to the worst possible scenario.
I'm glad you said that. I got a whole list of shit that I can come. Like, well, mom, if we put it like that, then you know, I'm just saying we could, you know.
Yeah, go out and get a blazer.
I could have got a bigger TV in my room.
Yeah, get a blazer. Get a little bob cut, dye your hair blonde, bleach your skin, turn into a little opinionated white lady. Oh, it's over with. It's over with. I got opinions, bitch.
When you put it like that, I got plenty of shit to say.
Now obviously you don't just want to go around complaining about everything. Once again, let me say what I'm not saying. I'm not saying to go around complaining about everything, but you can't be extreme. Yeah. I think that's my point. All extremism to me leads to mental health. Yeah. When you are so extreme about one thing or so extreme about the other thing, to me, it's a surefire way to like become obsessive, to get anxious, to get to come down with all of these potential mental health defects and stuff like that. And now you're sitting here looking at stuff like, damn, don't nobody fuck with me. And then there's this other thing. And this is just to encapsulate the point that I'm making. I started out by talking about capitalism and how it's grown over time. How people, not just black people, but white people, but specifically black people, because I fuck with y'all. We have this pressure to perform at this socioeconomic level when the majority of us are either middle class or lower middle class. And on top of that, a lot of people, just because of your socioeconomic condition, grow up and develop these mental health disorders. It's not everybody, but we have to talk about it, because if we're going to have the conversation, there's no point in leaving that factor out. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's no point in that. So, and then on top of that, you deal with the stuff that you already deal with as it pertains to being poor. As it pertains to being poor, and as far as it pertains to black people and Mexicans being brown altogether, living in America. And so you have this immense pressure on you to perform on this level. And you have these people in these privileged positions telling you that this is what a man does. And you see that you aren't meeting these things. And now you questioning your manhood. You trying your best you're breaking your neck, doing everything that you can to try to validate to yourself that you're a man. You go find you a woman that does not reciprocate shit to you. And you do everything in your power to please that woman, because you've seen and you've heard a man get you a woman, make sure you pay all her bills. When y'all dating, you pay for the first date. You pay for everything. Everything is about reaping all of the money that you earn. And how effective are you at how effective are you at using that money to show how much of a man you are? Yeah. That to me has caused a lot of hypertension, and I feel like is one of the not one of the driving components behind this new wave of toxic masculinity that we've seen going on. And there's this concept called the Pygmalion Effect. I'm going to try my best to explain it. Matter of fact, I'm going to read it from the source, because I want everybody to concretely get it. Pygmalion. If that's your name, that shit crazy.
I hope that's not your name.
But so this is how it works. It works in 4 phases. others' expectations about us influence their behavior towards us. So others' expectations about us influence their behaviors towards us. Mm-hmm. So other people's expectations, they have expectations about you, and because of those expectations, they act a certain way towards you.
That's why they say that people ask you what you do so they know how much respect to give you.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. Their behavior towards you influences how we see ourselves. Mm-hmm. Right. So you can have an idea about yourself, but then you come in contact with another person and you see how they treat you and you question yourself. Mm-hmm. Right. The third phase, how we see ourselves impacts our own behavior. That one's cut and dry. I don't even have to explain that one. Mm-hmm. Number 4, our behavior towards others influences their beliefs, reinforcing that expectation. Mm-hmm. So, an example. You expect me to be violent as a black man. I think that I'm peaceful. You treat me as if though I'm supposed to be violent. I get irritated at that. Mm-hmm. And now I do become violent. And now that has reinforced your idea that I was violent to begin with. Mm-hmm. And that concept is so rampant in not just the black community, in every community around the world. If more people took that concept into consideration, I think that we would be more critical about how we place expectations on people. So the reason why I think that's important is because you have men and women both do this. So I'm going to say you have people, but I'm going to go back to the whole point that we've been talking about. Man is supposed to do this. If he doesn't do this, he's not a man. Person sees himself and the distance between who he actually is and this idea of what a man is. Person tries to achieve that. Person isn't educated. Person has mental health defects. Person has all of this. Person, in his advent of this idea of being a man, attaining all of this money, I'm going to go sell some weed, go sell some drugs, going to do whatever it takes to get this money. They fuck up. They look at themselves and see how much further away from it they actually are. And they say, oh, I have to now prove in another way because this is proving that I'm not, I have to prove in another way that I'm a man. I got to be bigger than you. I got to be stronger than you. I got to be violent, right? I got to lash out in all of these different ways to prove that I'm a man, you know. That's why I think that expectation, that pressure, once again, I'm not saying that there isn't a place for it. What I'm saying is the amount of weight that we put on people without understanding who we truly are. Because once again, we talk about this thing as if everybody's equal. And most of us, the vast majority of people, I saw this thing going around on Facebook talking about is $1,000 a week enough to live off of? I said $1,000 a week. I said, which one of you motherfuckers is making $1,000 a week?
Right.
Which one of you mother is actually bringing home? Yeah. I'm talking about not what you make before taxes, bitch. I'm talking about after taxes. Yeah. Which one of you motherfuckers how many of you motherfuckers is actually making $1,000 a week? And why y'all shitting on people that ain't? Because it don't take $1,000 a week to maintain a life at all. Yeah. And it depends on where you are, obviously. Because if you're in California, then okay. Yeah. Because the cost of living and all of this other stuff here.
$4,000.
Yeah. For fucking 2-bedroom apartment, you might be paying $4,000. Yeah. Right. But here in Alabama, in Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, North Dakota. That's the name of this ugly shit, Iowa. Because there ain't no cost of living in fucking Iowa. I could be wrong. I don't know nothing about Iowa. But
$50 a week.
Who else was I shitting on?
Nebraska,
Idaho. I was shitting on Idaho the other week. Like fucking nobody fucking lives in fucking Idaho. Cost of living ain't that fucking much.
At our ass like crazy.
You said what?
I said we shooting potatoes at our ass like crazy.
Get a potato launcher, go crazy on your ass. But yeah, like ain't nobody fucking worried about them. But anyway, the cost of living just hell no. Because the thing about it, and I know this by heart because I pay very close attention to how much money you got to make. Because hell, you double that and add about $300 more to it. $333 to be exact, and that's six figures. $8,333.33 repeating is six figures. That's how much it takes to make $100,000 a year, a month. I'm saying $8,000 a month. So ain't you so $50,000? How many people are actually? Let me see this.
Yeah.
What percentage of motherfuckers? That's what I want to know. What I'm gonna type it in just like that. What percentage? Nah, I ain't gonna do that. Of people make 50 a year. Overall, the highest percentage of Americans, 16.5%, have an income between $50,000 and $70,000, with the second and third highest percentages being those who make between $75,000 and $99,000. So 16% of America makes between $50,000 and $70,000. That's the highest percentage. What?
Maybe they're saying like that's the highest concentration of people.
Probably. Yeah, because they're saying that the next percentage is 12% that make between $75,000 and essentially $100,000. And so that's the highest percentage. Motherfuckers is not making. And then you're not accounting for the fact that we start talking about the United States. You got to start accounting for where the majority of GDP is located. Of course, you're probably not going to be making $4,000 if you stay in Chicago, even though they have extremely poor areas of Chicago. But like, if you're like living in Chicago, you probably make a little more. New York, you're going to make more. San Francisco, you're going to make more. Anywhere in California, you're going to make more. Texas and all of these other places. So if you account for that, if you account for the pay difference, the pay differential, it's still probably around that same amount of money. That's so very average.
I would like to speak to something that you said.
Go ahead.
And I don't know if I'm not disagreeing with you. I would just like to offer a different perspective.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
please inform me.
As far as people defining what a man is, and as far as like a man having to take care of your woman. I feel like I've said this before, but if you are a man and you feel as a man that you want to take care of your woman,
for sure,
that's what you should do. For
sure.
And if you as a man, but you should find a woman who also wants to be taken care of.
For sure.
Right? If you as a man feel like you want to go 50-50 with a woman, or 75-30, or whatever percentage you can come up with in your head, then just make sure you find a woman that also wants to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and that is, I feel like that's such a simple equation, but I think that people miss it because of these viral posts on Facebook where they say, this and that, and the man's supposed to do this, and you ain't no man.
That's all I'm talking about. Because I agree with you 100%.
That's insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw the Steve Harvey thing where he was talking to whoever he was talking. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he was just saying like, what kind of man is this? What's wrong with this generation? What happened to the man that was supposed to be responsible? And
inflation. Inflation happened. What the fuck you talking about?
And this is the thing. I don't disagree with Steve Harvey. I just don't give a fuck that he said it. Because for me, like
that's what you do.
You know, I prefer my women at the house.
And go ahead.
And it's not like I feel like that's her place. That's
your preference. That's your dynamic.
Just my preference.
Yeah, that's your dynamic.
You know what I mean? But this is also the thing. I prefer my woman to be free to do whatever the fuck it is that she wants to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if she wants to go get a job and have a career, then that's cool. And if she wants to say, man, you want
to supply her that option.
That's the option that I want to give her, and that's what I feel for me.
For sure.
And I felt that before social media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just how I always felt.
And let me be very clear. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that there's anything wrong with that at all. As a matter of fact, I feel like that's what we ought strive for as men. I feel like that's what we ought strive for.
And like, and I guess for me, I feel like I would even go as far as to say a breadwinner, because there are women who are breadwinners, right? So if you want to be the breadwinner and you want to take care of a household, then for me, the goal should be that everybody in your household can do whatever the fuck they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, within reason, right?
Sure,
like my daughter wants to sit on the iPad for 8 hours a day, and I just can't allow that because you're 4.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you could be doing on that. I told her today, like, you cannot just sit on the iPad. Like, and I told her, like, to her, I looked her dead in the eye. I was like, I do not care about that iPad one bit. I'll throw it away. Like right now, today. Don't yell at me about that iPad anymore. Yeah. Because it's just like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not doing anything for you. But I also love the fact that you think that is the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the biggest problem that she had today was my iPad is not charged. It has not been charged this entire day. And I'm pissed about it.
The fact that that's a problem, and that like, if that is a problem, I'm sorry, if you're going to have problems, that is the problem.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as a dad, that's like all I want for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can yell at me about your iPad tomorrow too. It's cool. I'm still gonna probably cuss you out about it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that my issue comes from when I sit and scroll Facebook, and it always happens the same way. I'll scroll and scroll until I'll see one post that's like, as a man, and I'll be like, log off. Like, what do you? And like, I think that people, for your own sanity, just define your life the way you want to define it. Like, if you want to travel and be single, travel and be single. If you want to find somebody that will split everything right down the middle with you, find that person, and then just like enjoy life with them. And then, you know what I'm saying, like, let other people's opinions be other people's opinions. So when I see that Steve Harvey shit, I'm like, that's funny that you say that because you're super rich. But, you know, that's your opinion. Cool.
Yeah, to be fair, Fred got some hot takes today. I fuck with this. Fred getting the big box today. Fred got all the hot takes. I'm fucking with that shit. Okay. But to be fair, Steve Harvey did do a lot of sacrificing to make sure his family was straight. Some of it is questionable because he apparently left his family behind to go pursue comedy. He didn't leave them behind. He left to go pursue it. And they just didn't have, I don't know if he didn't have enough money for them to come, or if it just wouldn't have been convenient for them to be there. But in any event,
probably a little column A, column B.
Yeah. Because so I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that ideology at all. I think that there are there positives that come from that ideology? For sure. Because you look at someone like Steve Harvey, though, like, and not even just him. Think about all of the successful men that became successful under that ideology. I'm not bashing the ideology for its intrinsic, for any intrinsic nature. I'm only talking about this particular part that affects more people than I think we care to accept. That's all that I'm talking about.
I think it's like, it goes back to almost back to when we talked about masculinity versus misogyny. It's just it's internal versus external. So right. Whatever you feel like doing, that's cool. Right. But when you start sitting on, you know, a podcast and saying you're not a man if you do this, and you're not a man if you don't do this. Right. And like, that makes you an asshole.
Yeah, it makes you an asshole, and it makes you a bitch. straight up,
B.
straight up and down. Like you just like, yeah, because what you're unknowingly doing. And I might be a little hypocritical for calling y'all some bitches because maybe y'all got some psychological shit going on in y'all's head too. Because everybody's just fucking hurt. All of these people that are spewing this shit like are just hurt people trying to revalidate themselves to society. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I get it, but like what you're unknowingly doing is causing other people all of this mental trauma that don't fit into this box. And what you're doing is you're saying that this box is the only way to be a man. And it's shown over and over again. Man, look, in Pompeii, I think it's in Pompeii. One of the rights to becoming a man, and ain't none of us did this shit. So in Pompeii, we ain't men. Right. They have gloves filled to the brim with bullet ants. Bullet ants have a sting 3 times more painful than a bee, and it's filled with them. And these children put their hands in these gloves, and I forgot how long they got to keep them in there, but they got to do it over and over again throughout the day, and that is how they become a man.
Why?
So now imagine these motherfuckers in Pompeii, but like, you don't put your hands in gloves to become a man. You gotta have money. What money don't put your hands in some gloves,
bruh.
You feel what I'm saying?
Pull out some gloves, bro. I'll kick you in your shit.
You feel what I'm saying?
Better not bring no ants around me. Bro. I'm a city boy.
You feel what I'm saying?
Like,
so that's the point that I'm making, is that it's so many different rite of passages to being a man. And I honestly blame extremism, but not just extremism. I feel like and fuck it. So I feel like the way that we've seen church done has influenced our opinions and it's made us susceptible to following in behind people who have this same church pastor charisma. Now I could be wrong. Now this may not be facts. This could be the least facts I've ever spat. But the reason I say that is because I feel like church, especially for black people, especially for black people, has been this place of where our leaders have come from, right? In the civil rights movement, it was because the church was the safest place for them to congregate. But in modern times, it's become this thing where, you just listen to like we still follow in behind this thing. And so we've grown up with this feeling of, I remember when being young, my mother would say, "Yo, you better act right for the pastor to say something." And it was a thing where the pastor had a rite of passage to discipline your kid. And so it's like this pastor figure, this pastoral figure had this authority, this larger than life as far as it pertains to the community at the time, presence, this, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like for a lot of people, not everybody, because everybody's obviously not religious, but for a lot of people, growing up that way, when they come across someone who has that same kind of charisma about themselves, I feel like they're more prone to follow up in behind them. And I feel like the whole tell it like it is mentality, because you hear it in church, the I'm gonna tell it like it is, the let me be blunt about it, it might step on your toes, it might hurt your feelings. I feel like that is part of what made Kevin Samuel so digestible. The whole idea of this, I'm going to tell it to you like it is, because we as black people feel like that's what we need, somebody to tell it to us like it is. You disagree?
I don't disagree, but I also feel like sometimes we're so hurt that we like to see people get hurt, and we just like to see people getting like shitted on online. Yeah.
Especially with the gender wars between black men and black women. That's been a thing.
But I think social media like first of all, I blame social media for everything. So that's just gonna be like the way I start all of my topics. But
that's it.
I think that it is people. I feel like people have always flocked to people that are like them and that think alike, right? So we just tend to cling to people that share our ideas and values. I think that social media just makes it to where we don't have to interact with people that don't share our ideas and values if we don't want to. We can block them, but you can't block those people in real life. Right. So,
especially growing up, because you just didn't have social media the same way, so you had to be around for it.
You have to be around, and I don't remember all these conversations about, you know, what a man was and like breadwinners.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like growing up, I mean, I guess maybe those wouldn't be conversations that you would have as a child, but I just don't remember those being like topics on TV.
Right.
You know, like on, I guess, the TV that we were watching, because I was trying to sneak and watch BET and stuff.
Well, a lot of that is because, like what I just brought up, the whole thing, this whole gender wars thing that has been a thing in the Black community. Some people attribute it to like feminism, that the gender war thing kind of came out of feminism, which may or may not be true. I haven't looked that deep into it, but in any situation, you can look at to like somewhat like it. I think where you see it the most is in like comedy specials. Yeah. Because I feel like it's something that's funny. I feel like that's where it's presented the most in a digestible way for people to laugh at and us to be like, oh, that is kind of true. I can remember way back, even in Eddie Murphy, I don't know if it was Delirious or Raw, but he was talking about how in the 1920s you could slap a woman. Now it's like you say something to her and she start going off at the mouth and stuff like that. Then you go into like Chris Rock. He had this whole thing. He had not a whole special, but he had a special where he had a segment talking about basically the differences between men and women, and you know, just the predecessor, all of the talking points that preclude niggas ain't shit and bitches ain't shit. Right? Before we started just summing everything up to that. All of these different talking points. Monique had a part in one of her specials back long time ago where she said, you know, white women, they get to argue with their man and it's over with when he get ready to go to work. Black women will pull up at the job and you think this is over with? Yada this, yada that, yada this. And so we have had this, what people call gender war thing going on for a minute. Right? And I think that it's just reached this boiling point in our community where that's all now that we talk about, because men specifically are feeling the ramifications of I feel like men are just starting to feel the ramifications of whatever term you want to attribute to. Some people don't like to use the word oppression. Whatever word you want to put in place of this, but women's condition up until, you know, their inevitable liberation. I feel like Black men are just starting to feel the ramifications of that. And because we aren't just necessarily the best at expressing ourselves, it comes off in this hyper aggressive manner. And I feel like that's a lot of what we've been seeing. And now that you have these super liberated women who speak out and are very vocal, a lot of vitriol is being spewed between the two of us, men because we don't know how to communicate, and women because niggas ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Communicate.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's just this all this vitriol just being spewed back and forth between each other. I feel like that's a big part of what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that like, I feel like people just got to be clear about what they want in life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then stick to it.
Yeah. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I've been adamant about loving black women.
Facts.
Like I've been very adamant about that. Like, cause I've realized that, and so this is. I don't think that talking to other races or marrying someone from another race or anything like that is a huge deal. For me, I recognize that there are predatory circumstances, even if you don't want to apply it to a person, even though I do. Even if you don't want, or a group of people, even if you don't want to do that, there are still circumstances that are deleterious to our community. So to me, I feel like it's of my best interest. Not only is it of my best interest, but you start talking about, it's no different than understanding that this person has a similar condition that I have. We're both of the same race, we're both of the same economic background. And sometimes it's not even about the economic background. It's just that I see myself in you. You know what I'm saying? I hope that you see yourself in me because we share this condition. And I don't want anything to happen to you because when it happens to you, I feel like it could have also happened to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I want to take care of that. That's precious to me. Like black women are most certainly precious to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I care about making sure that our community, when it pertains to getting along and all of this other stuff, I care about whether or not we do that. Because I don't want to see, first of all, we're never going to not have little black boys and little black girls. Yeah. It's never going to be a world where, where there isn't going to be someone that's going to be affected by our lack of communication, our infighting, this, that. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be affected by it. And it's a long laundry list of reasons, but I think the primary one is just because I care about making sure that people who maybe I'm a fool for doing this, I consider to be my people. I care about us loving each other because other people do it. Other communities do it. I genuinely care about that. And so I've always made it my thing. It's not that I don't find other people from other races attractive. It ain't got nothing to do with that though. As far as who am I going to choose to be a life partner with? I chose a black woman.
Absolutely.
And that was going to be my choice regardless.
Yeah. Definitely. I agree.
Yeah, man. Give it up one time for the black women out there, man. Give it up one time. What you looking like that for? Yeah, man. Those fucking deep fakes of there were deep fakes. First of all, AI is going to ruin us all. It's officially a fear of mine.
Yeah. So because I saw the AI thing. So is that like where people? It said Snapchat AI. Is that where people are talking to the robot? Yeah. They're just having conversations.
But the scarier one was when this dude, he made a song, and the AI replicated the Drake and The Weeknd, and made a song. And if I'm not mistaken, it was fire. It was a banger. Like the AI made Heat.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then there was some bullshit going around. People were believing the shit of R. Kelly performing in jail.
I did see those pictures.
And I'm like, oh, so y'all think that this shit is real?
I'm just saying, R. Kelly looked like LeBron James.
What?
He looked in the AI.
Oh, he looked like LeBron James.
Yeah, I was, because when I first scrolled past, I was like, that LeBron? And then I was like, no, it's R. Kelly.
It was another AI generated image of Snoop Dogg with like some bananas on or some shit like that, some crazy shit. And folks was just like, he just be doing shit. I love him. I'm like, it's not him. I'm like, it's not him. Bro, I was scared. I was genuinely like, bro, is this like how it's gonna be? Bruh. Where like you got some woke few that's just like, no, don't go over there. They're not real. And like everybody gets 8.
I feel like
everybody get 8. It's like, no, don't go. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course that's Snoop Dogg. You go over there and the AI eat your ass.
Bruh, I feel like the world is already that. Like, I feel like there's a few of us that are just here and like aware that this shit is bullshit. And then there's like other people that are just eating it up. Just eating it up. I don't know,
The
bro.
Matrix. People have been speaking of the Matrix, because I'm never gonna ever pass up an opportunity to shit on like red pill niggas. But like but what a lot of these niggas don't know is that shit was actually an allusion to transgenderism.
What was?
Neo is frequently mentioned as being she, because when she woke up from the man. And then on top of that, this is the craziest point of all. You ready for this? Not only are the directors, fact check me on this part, because I heard this and I never went back and fact checked it, but I believe the writer, the director, or whoever, somebody associated with the development of the movie or the concept, it was two people that ended up being trans later on in life. And on top of that, this is it. You ready for me to drop the red pill? Looks exactly like old estrogen pills. You some estrogen niggas. Some estrogen. Hey, the whole time these motherfuckers is just like, I'm red pill, I'm a man. Nigga, you estrogen.
Estrogen, bro.
You estrogen like fuck, boy, you got titties. Hey, you lactate. And we're not laughing at transgender people. We're laughing at people who think that they tough and that they hyper masculine. And I'm raw whole time. Your ass is your shirt wet around the nipples. Get the fuck out of here, boy. Yo. Hey, yo, but fact check me though. So I want to make sure that I'm speaking facts.
Let's see.
Trent, I don't even know what to tell you to look up.
I don't know either.
But yeah, man, that shit's fucking crazy, man. All of this fucking AI shit. Everybody think that they something, and then everybody thinks something's one thing, and then it's not. It's so much of that. Red pill niggas think that they red pill whole time they estrogen. Folks,
this really says why the Matrix is a trans allegory.
That shit's crazy, ain't it? That shit's crazy. I try to be 100 about all the shit that I talk about.
Wait, hold on.
You might not agree with me.
Hold on.
But you can't.
And it's on NPR. That's how you know it's true. Wow.
Yeah. And so this whole thing about being a red pill ass nigga, man, you estrogen like fuck, boy.
Bruh. I love the Matrix.
Oh, ain't nothing. Yeah. Shout out. I was gonna say Neo. Shout out to what's my man name?
Neo Hill. I don't know.
No. Keanu Reeves. Yeah, shout out to my man Keanu Reeves. Yeah, going crazy. But and Fishburne 5. But yeah, man, y'all some y'all been trans this whole time.
That's wild.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I had to be the one to drop that news in the shadow y'all's world like that. But somebody had to do it.
You want to know what I don't understand is the need for feminism, and also the need for how is our feminism and this whole the man should be a provider, how are they coexisting? Like for women.
What do you mean? So
there's like this whole women are independent, women are, can do anything a man can do, or whatever. I don't need a man, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But then there's like this at the same time, there's the argument of a man should be providing, a man should be doing this, a man should be doing that. I guess I don't understand those two ideologies coexisting.
Well, let's talk about it from the beginning.
I don't understand how women are not more fighting with each other. Because like I feel like the real enemy of feminism would be the women saying, I need a man to provide for me. Like the feminists should be like,
I get what you're saying. Like inside of the different races, how come women who traditional women and feminists aren't infighting.
Yeah.
Type shit. They are.
Oh.
They are. It's just not as prominent, and they probably just aren't as loud. And a lot of people who have sense just aren't hollering. You know what I'm saying? They just aren't loud people. This podcast has actually been kind of chill because we got sense. You know what I'm saying?
Like I don't see a lot of feminists. Like just on my feed in general.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't recognize what feminism is. Now there's like a couple people that I follow that I know are feminists because they've said it. But they're not. I don't want to say they're not real people, but they're just like Instagram famous people. You know what I mean?
I don't consider myself to be a feminist. I don't really, because there are certain things that I don't agree with. So it's almost like set tripping. Like I'm not going to call myself a feminist if it's shit that I don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? I'm pro accountability. And whatever that means and whatever that looks like, a lot of people will hear certain talking points that I make or other people like me make, and they'll say, oh, he's on this side or he's on that side. No, I'm just pro accountability. Because so the reason why on some episodes it seems like I'm hard on men, and then on other episodes I'm talking about women, is because I'm talking about taking accountability for all of the fucked up shit that we do, right? With feminism, I don't know the entire chronology of this, but apparently at some point in time it started with white women and their grife with white men, and it evolved to include black women, I guess, for them to seem more progressive and so on and so forth. There was a lot of crazy shit going on during the civil rights era. Then the problem with it, including black women, is that black women started to have grife with men, but black men were not of the same socioeconomic class en masse as white men. So you ended up having black women joining forces with these white women, calling out inequity and stuff like that, which is still fair, but looped black men into the same category. And so you have people today, traditional women, now I've heard go around saying that, you know, feminism is bad because it ruined the black household. It made these women, it gave these women this false sense of, I don't need a man, I can do it all by myself, and it ruined the black household, which there is evidence for that. However, I still feel like it would have inevitably happened the moment that black men did reach the same socioeconomic status as white men en masse. And I feel like eventually our women would have gotten tired of feeling like their only worth was in the house and taking care of children and so on and so forth. The thing about it is, it's like what I was just talking about proximity. You don't have to be dirt poor to feel the effects of dirt poorness, right? You just have to be in proximity. And so I think that that's what happened. I feel like black women identified with certain elements of the woman's struggle. Let me explain this, because a lot of people don't understand this whole thing. It's about identity hate. I'm going to break it down real smooth, real simple for everybody to understand. All of us, and let me also preface this by saying that a lot of people hate being put in hate labels, being put in different bubbles and stuff like that, not understanding that that is how we evolved to operate. It's not necessarily neurologically beneficial to know whether or not this snake is venomous, or this snake is not. It's a snake, kill it. You know, and like that's our first intuition, that's our visceral reaction to stuff. So it's like it takes extra energy for us to go in and say, okay, let's open up the snake's mouth. Oh, no fangs. Oh, it's not venomous. You know, it takes extra energy for us to do the mental equivalent of that to everything in life. So most of the time we just loop shit in over here and we loop shit in over here, and it's just like, this is something vaguely over here, and this is, so people are going to do that regardless. That was just for people that might be trying to come for what I'm about to say. Okay. We are born with what are called primary identities. An example of this is if you're born with a penis, most of the time, people are going to say that you are a boy.
Mm-hmm.
That is an identity that for at least a period of your life you are going to have until we have the ability to change that. But that is something that you deal with for a particular period of your life, right? If you are born with a vagina, you are considered a girl for an extended period of your life. If you are born with brown skin and both of your parents are of African descent, you are considered black. That is something that you will have to deal with for an extended period, if not all of your life. So these are all primary identities that you, for the most part, can't change, and for the most part, define who you are, especially in your early years. You know what I'm saying? As we grow older, we acquire secondary identities. So let's say you, musician, that's a part of your identity. Police officer is an identity. Teacher is an identity. And so we grow into these other things, and they latch on to us and become a part of our identity, how people identify us. Because some people might not know you as Fred the teacher. Some people might know you as Fred the drummer at the church, right? And that's, once again, a secondary identity. So an identity that you acquire as you progress through life and you just do shit. You're just going to get secondary identities. What happens is you have people who have or will have a problem with someone or a group of someone's and identify those people by a primary or secondary identity signifier. So watch this. Police officers, fuck them all.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It doesn't matter. We haven't discussed whether or not it's a man, whether or not it's a woman, whether they black, whether they white. No. There are people who have been so hurt by a police officer or some precinct or something like that it's fuck all police officers. Mm-hmm. And so now we've gone into the realm of identity hate, right? Where you have people that do not like you because of a particular identity that you have. Republicans and Democrats, notorious for this. Oh, you're a Republican? I cannot fuck with you. Mm-hmm. Right. And so what ends up happening is we go around acquiring these identities, not understanding that there are people that have grief with them. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with black women during this time, where it wasn't about them being black men, it was about them being men. It was about black women identifying with the woman part of white women. You get what I'm saying? Before you get to the race, well, we still identify with each other because we can still get looped into this thing called womanhood. And so I identify with this womanhood. And so I'm going to, even though there are differences here and there, at the core, this is helping my womanhood, right? I feel like that's what happened with that. Because this concept is one that a lot of people will never think about unless you probably hear this podcast. Most people will continue to go throughout life not understanding why certain people work against what seems to be their best interest. Why you have black Republicans. Because they identify with more closely the things and the policies of this group than they do the other group, more so than their own kinship, their own skin color or race or gender.
I feel like, and it could be because I'm young or because I was young. I remember that politics used to be something that you didn't talk about, right? But I feel like when Obama started running, I feel like it was a easy way for white people to say, I don't fuck with that nigga, to just be like, well, I'm a Republican. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I feel like it's been that way ever since. So now I'm supporting Trump. I'm a Republican. I'm, this and that. Right. And I don't know. It's like, I think that I don't really do a lot of politics, but I think a lot of times black people are really more conservative than
Yeah.
any Democrat.
Yeah.
You know
We
what I'm
most
saying?
certainly
So-
have traditional values. We most certainly have conservative views for sure. Now, black men tend to vote more progressively overall, but that goes into this kind of cognitive dissonance that we have where I'm going to vote this way because it's in best interest of this particular thing, but I actually believe this. Right. And that's why being radicalized is so dangerous, and why for example, there are some policies that I'm sure that Republicans agree with that Republicans will never uphold because it's a Democratic policy. You know what I'm saying? So it gets ugly like that.
Yeah.
And with that understanding of how identity hate works, it's actually the best way to explain racism, honestly. But you see how easy it is for people to become radicalized, where now it's like, oh, I don't fuck with this particular identity so much that I'm going to find someone else who doesn't fuck with this identity, and guess what? Now this is our identity. Us not fucking with that, that's what we have in common. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how radical I am and how passive you are. We both don't fuck with that, so we're the same thing, i.e. those radical ass motherfuckers that stormed the Capitol versus people like Mike Pence and Michael Cohen and all the rest of these motherfuckers that are now snitching on Trump.
Bro, you know a crazy example of that is Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Have you you're not really on Facebook anymore, right?
Not anymore, but I'm gonna have to come back.
Bruh, Facebook groups are the funniest thing because you see so many people that think the exact same way. And it's like they get into these groups where literally people are like, admin, are they allowed to post this in here? They can't post this in here. And it just be like some random ass shit, but it's just like, because it is so offensive to this group of people pounce on it. And it's I have a good time. I don't really.
He said he has a good time.
I don't ever post in them, and I'm scared to join some of them because I just don't want people to see my name in the group. Yeah. But I really like reading some of those posts because it's impressive what people are offended by and what people uphold.
And it's crazy because so we have this thing that we talked about a lot, not us, but as people have started talking about a lot, and you've seen celebrities hit with this a lot, like Dave Chappelle and people like this who get up and say something, and it's like you have people who are just super offended by any and everything. Some of it is understandable, not justifiable, but understandable. Some of it is understandable, but I feel like you have groups of people. Not just white men, but you have groups of people who get a kick out of being a victim and just want to, I don't know if it's that they like that attention. I don't know what it is, but that whole thing, bro, has caused so much back and forth. That's it. So much back and forth. But in no matter what closed system you want to use, whether it's men and women, black men and black women, Naruto fans versus Ichigo fans, goddamn, whatever it is, it's like you got people that are just, I don't know, they just want to play this victim card so much. This is a huge thing. Because I feel like we have a hard time discerning victims. And this is something that I do. I'm gonna start opening up my backyard thinking, because sometimes I feel like I do a whole lot of sitting on the porch in the backyard with my rocking chair drinking some whiskey. Sometimes I feel like I do a lot of thinking like that. So this is stuff that I use, like tools that I use to try to figure out whether or not I'm tweaking. One of those things is I look at things and I try to break them down to their simplest components. One thing that a lot of people don't think about is how fundamental language is as it pertains to culture. Right? So you can tell a lot about a culture by the language, by the people who speak the language. You can understand a lot about them. The reason why in certain areas I'm hard on men and I say that it's men's fault for a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying that it's the active walking around men. I'm saying that we as men are perpetuators of patriarchal and misogynist views. We don't even know it sometimes, but we are. We perpetuate the shit. The same way that some white people unknowingly perpetuate racist ideologies. It's not necessarily their fault, but they are mechanisms in its survival, the racism and stuff like that. How do we know what group of people? Because what's going to happen is you're going to have people on both sides arguing with each other about you doing this to me, and well, no, you doing this to me, and how do you find out who hit who first? I think that when you look at language, whoever was in a position of oppression, they had the ability to use words and signifiers to address, going back to the identity thing, to address certain people a certain way. Mm-hmm. There's not a disrespect equivalent to the word nigger as it pertains to white folks. From black people to white folks, find me one.
Yeah.
There's not one. There's not an equivalent of that word. There are other races that have slang and offensive words associated with their race for sure. There's not a nigger equivalent, right? In the relationship between men and women, is there a bitch equivalent? As a matter of fact, when we want to be disrespectful to each other, we call each other that.
Yeah, bitch ass nigga.
Is there tell me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Is there a bitch equivalent? Mm-hmm. Is there a whore equivalent? We say male thoughts.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we don't call men hoes. We say that they're hoeing. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I look at when I'm trying to figure out, okay, who needs to take responsibility? I look at the way that we speak to each other because we still have difficulty with it. Look what I'm using my hands to make the point. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have such trouble talking that we start using extra things. So when we talk about stuff, when things happen, when we have an idea and we express it, we have jargon and words that we use as signifiers to express that idea. And so the lick is the original idea of this group of people. And I mean, there are so many different ways that the Pygmalion Effect goes into that whole concept about the expectation after I've created this idea of you acting out in ways because of ways that I've treated you because of this idea of you. Now you acting out in this way and it's reaffirming my idea of you. You know what I'm saying? It's so much of that. And I feel like that acting out is what we see, what white people see with black people, what men see with women, what I think that's where a lot of this fucking us fighting each other comes from.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And I think the only way to combat it is really just to like
shoot everybody.
Keep a strap on you. Like I work with a lot of white people.
Yes.
I got a lot of white kids. Which is also why I'm reluctant to like mention my business name or whatever.
Yeah, don't do that. Well, I mean, you can.
I mean, I already did, but you know, it's all good. Cause I love them. And I guess what I see sometimes is in the past, or historically, Black people have felt a need to look a certain way to fit in with white people. And I have always, I don't even want to say taking pride in the fact that like, but just I made it a point to like, if I don't give a shit how I look, then I don't care how you feel about how I look. You know what I'm saying? So
that's so difficult for everybody else though.
It's difficult for a lot of people. I'm fortunate to be in a position that I'm in,
Ivory Tower.
due to my mom. Definitely in an ivory tower in that sense. But a lot of times, people walk into our business for the first time and they see me, and to them, I just look like a random dude just sitting, in the corner until, 4:00 hits and it's time for class to start. And then I'm like, all right, guys, and it's like now all of a sudden I open my mouth and it's like, who, what? Why? How? And I try to make it a point for my kids to understand that, like, even without telling them, I'm not going to sit down and preach to them about this kind of stuff because I just don't feel like it's beneficial to our program because it's a drum program. But just in my actions and in the way that I speak to them and in the way that I interact with them and that I want them to interact with each other, I need them to understand that it doesn't really matter what you look like. It's how you behave. It's how you act. It's how you carry yourself.
Absolutely.
And it's how you feel about yourself. You know what I'm saying? And your environment is always going to play a part in who you are, but it should never determine who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you are going to be a reflection of where you came from. Some people are tough because they had tough backgrounds or they had a tough environment. And that is important. We need those people to be tough. But then there's people that came from soft lives and they're soft. And they treat everything with a soft touch. And they approach everything with a soft view. And we need those people. Because if everybody's tough, we'd still be cavemen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Facts.
we'd still be bashing each other.
They called Socrates and Plato and all of them other motherfuckers boy lovers. And, hey, that's some funny shit though.
Hey, bro. I don't know. They probably were.
Hey, no. They most certainly were. But it's the point. It's the point that they were soft and they challenged philosophy.
I mean, like, just think about like the first man to sit down and try to tell a fellow caveman, like, "Hey, bro, let's just talk about our feelings." He was like, "Bam." What you talk? Like,
you got your ass wet.
Like, literally, and probably no. But nah, like, I just, what I'm saying, like, I think people just get so caught up in, like you said, like the labels.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate labels personally, just because I feel like I see a lot of people who really embody exactly what you're saying. You say in the Pygmalion Effect, whereas like they find this label that they associate with,
right? And
then now all of a sudden I have to behave this way,
right?
So that is why Kevin Samuels is a possible figure in life where he's just, and I'm not gonna say he's spewing nonsense. But like some of the shit he's saying, just like it just don't apply.
He absolutely. Let me be very clear about my stance on. Oh, my bad, y'all. Let me be very clear about my stance on Kevin Samuels. I think that he most certainly was touching on issues that needed to be talked about.
Yeah.
The truth without compassion is just brutality, though. And without understanding, that's why I try my best. Sometimes people say that I ramble. I try my best to, if you notice, I'm not rambling. I'm trying to talk about the point from the beginning. Yeah. Because if we only talk about it in this bubble and it becomes this echo chamber, we start to lose sight of how we take responsibility, what order, because that's important. It's very hard to get somebody to take responsibility for something when they weren't the initial vector of change. Yeah, it's very hard to you want me to apologize because you started some shit. It's very hard to do that, and I feel like especially as men, you can't sit up here and say that you are the head, the leader, the this, that, and the third, and have too big of an ego to get your shit together first and say, okay, now let's address our other problems, right? There's going to be shit that we're not going to be able to get past yet because it involves women, right? But there are certain things. It's just like, I don't see any of these channels, any of these people as concerned with predatory men and predatory male behavior as I do them worried about women on OnlyFans, when statistics have shown that children and people in general just ain't even fucking like that no more. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like we are concerned with things that soothe our ego versus what's actually having an effect on the world. And that's toxic. That's toxic behavior. You get what I'm saying? It's not to say that it's not a problem. Should every girl be on OnlyFans? I'm not here to say, but I
don't think any girl should.
I'm not here to say, but my point is that it's deleterious to our plight in trying to, unless that's not the plight, unless the plight isn't to try to get along with each other. If it's just to cuss at each other, then we're doing a fucking good ass job at it.
Is the plight to like?
That's what I'm asking.
When you say to get along with each other, what does that mean? Just to be able to coexist?
Yeah, like to be able to coexist, and because obviously we're talking about two kind of extreme ends of the community society. Yeah. But like, I still feel like its effects and reaches still have the ability to influence people in the middle. And I feel like that's a big deal, because you have people that are in the middle that have never even thought about these things, that get radicalized by certain points and talking points, and they've never, I hate to jump and change topics, but it's the reason why you have people that are very cautious of rap music, because what happens is, and I had to write this down so that I wouldn't forget it.
That's a good segue into that.
I'm sorry. Rap music is digestible to the masses because of its absurdity and them not having to take personal accountability for the ramifications of the actual lifestyle. And so you have, watch this, you have people who during the Shakespearean era that would go to these plays, because during that time everybody was poor. A lot of shit was going on where people were having the land taken from them. There's a whole bunch of bullshit that was going on. So playwrights were very popular during that time because it gave people an opportunity to escape from the hustle and bustle of their life and become enveloped into this fictional life. And that's why if you look at a lot of Shakespeare plays in particular, whether it be Hamlet, all of these tragedies, Hamlet, Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, Romeo and Juliet, all of these tragedies where everybody dies, right? Because that violence, that aggression gives people catharsis, especially when there's a level of separation between them and the actual event. It doesn't mean that they don't have shit going on in their own lives. Mm-hmm. It just means that this topic is kind of removed from me, but there's something about it that I identify with and I can get some catharsis from it. And there are men, I'm sure, who have probably had a heartbreak or two, but are probably perfectly fine and are so caught up in their own work that they don't even have the time to think about a manosphere or an estrogen pill or a woman this or whatever. Yeah. But they hear this and they're like, you know what? I have seen that happen before. Mm. And they get a kick out of someone like a Kevin Samuels berating and bashing a black woman on TV. Or you have people who, black men especially, say, you know what, I'm not gonna marry a black woman, I'm gonna marry a white woman. And then to see that again, that this black man is berating this black woman, I'm getting a kick out of it. And they identify more with that quality versus what's actually being said and all of this other stuff. Yeah. Just same thing with this white woman named Just Pearly things. A lot of black men were getting a kick out of her till she invited that racist Fuentes motherfucker on. And Nick Fuentes, you know who I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
Yeah, so he's a profound racist, and allegedly but she invited him on, and she didn't disagree with some of his talking points, and the black men started to realize, wait a minute, this bitch invited this racist on, right? But the whole time, she had been making points, berating black women, and black men were all on board because black, this, that, and the third. Black women are too outspoken. This, doing all of this other stuff, agreeing. Oh. But it wasn't until that was just like, oh, maybe she's a little racist. That's kind of off topic.
Like, as a black, like, you should never, like, this is,
speak it.
I ain't gonna say I wasn't raised right, but in my family, we can speak on each other, but you can't speak on what's happening in my house. First of all, because you don't supposed to know what's happening in my house. Mm-hmm. Like, my mama made sure, like, what happens in our house stays in our house. It ain't nobody's business but our own. And I instill that to my daughter to this day. Yeah. What mommy and daddy do here, that's what mommy and daddy do. You don't talk that shit nowhere else. Don't nobody know our life. Yeah. And it should extend to the entire black community. Yeah. Like, there might be some issues with black women. There might be some issues with black men, but white people, y'all can't speak on them. Don't speak to me about that shit, because you don't know. You can't tell me that. Like, you can't. Like, as my white friend, you cannot be like, man, listen, I just think black. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Because why do I care? It's crazy how
these black men have this, and so let me be very clear. I understand, right, black men's plight. I'm a black man. I've had women turn me down for stupid reasons. You know what I'm saying? I've had my fair share of heartbreaks. I've been betrayed by a black woman before. So I get it, right? Mm. But I also understand the entire picture, right? And I get that a lot of the things that I'm dealing with, or at the time when I was single and out here mingling and shit, that I was dealing with, came about because this person was hurt by some other predatory dude. Because in high school, it's very rare. Let's just be honest. Women have always been hypergamous. That means that they date up. It's very rare. Not saying it doesn't happen. I've had a lot of older girlfriends. My wife is older than me, right? But it's very rare in high school and in those very performative years for a child to be attracted, a girl to be attracted to a younger male. A lot of times it's this older bad boy, or it's this older dude. It doesn't have to be a bad boy. It's the star. It's the cute guy doing that. It's this dude that is older, right? That's the fear. That's every dad's fear. Oh, my little baby girl's gonna turn 15. It's gonna be some 17, 18-year-old dude with a nice car or something like that going up. That's the idea that we have in our mind, because that's the way that it happens a lot. That's the way we've seen it happen, play out a lot of the times. If that's the case, I'm willing to also bet that the vast majority of women's first heartbreaks came from a dude who they felt subservient to, not like I serve you, but like you're older than me. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? You are you're the one doing this to me. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that doesn't happen to men. There are plenty of men that have probably been hurt by an older woman, for sure, for sure. But when we talk about the actual dynamic that plays out, that we see all of the time, it's hard for me to imagine that women just grow up uninfluenced to treat men or have this idea of men. And it's very understandable to me to see a dude in his 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, up in that age where they just trying to fuck because sex is new. And you end up fucking over this girl, right? And it hurts her. You know what I'm saying? And that influences her view of men from now on. It's not unrealistic for me to believe that that's how that happens most of the time. Yeah. I don't think that the other way around happens more than that. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's really weird for me to try to even uphold a position where I'm with that understanding. It's really weird for me to try to uphold a position where it's just like, oh no, women just need to get their shit together. Because that, okay, there are a lot of women who we've lost. There are a lot of men who are lost. There ain't no getting them back. You know what I'm saying? And it's really weird for me to try to be like, oh, the solution is to just holler at women, to embarrass women, to do all of this stuff just for clicks and views and for attention and for money. And what? We're not fixing nothing like that. We're not talking about the root of the problem. I mean, let me get off of that because I talk about that all day and get mad and I'll be spitting in this mic and Mike, what is this called? The windscreen be wet as fuck, smell like mouth.
like mouth.
Just like mouth. Like, God damn. Like, you see this? It was a video of a dude yelling about how all police officers aren't bad, but he was in the driver's seat and somebody was in the passenger seat and he was leaning over the dude and you could see the expression on Buddy's face was just like, bro, yo, bro, stink. Yo, bro, stink. Hey, but yeah, man, let me get off of that. You have something?
No, I was just thinking about what you said, and it really makes sense. I guess I would call it cyclical. You know, like everything is a cycle.
Yeah.
It's like you said, who threw the first punch?
Yeah.
But I was thinking about the language. I don't know. I'm reflecting on like a lot of what you said.
Yeah.
It was some good shit.
Yeah. Like I said, that's a lot of my backyard thinking. And sometimes I have to like really go back and type some of this in Google to see who said it before me. Because sometimes I think that I remember I don't remember what concept it was, but I was just like, ooh, I'm a revolutionary. And I looked it up and it was just like, X nigga says this shit. Already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's facts.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that is definitely like you can't blame any one person for anything.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But it's women's fault.
For sure.
Just kidding.
And the thing is, I don't even necessarily consider it all black men's fault. Because once again, black men weren't in the socioeconomic, they didn't have the socioeconomic status that white men had. Yeah. They weren't making all of these laws and rules, and they weren't the ones responsible for the culture and stuff like that. But we latched on to it and we took it, right, and perpetuated it. And so we then became vectors for this oppressive ideology unknowingly. And so you have a lot of people who are just like, well, we never did anything, right? And you don't understand. It's like it's like the way that I think about it. It's like you didn't know that you had COVID because you didn't have the symptoms, right? And you spread it just like, I didn't do shit. You unknowingly passed it on. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I was going to get into some other stuff. I had this whole thing on here about the King Von documentary. Did you watch it?
I was watching it on the way here, but I've seen I've watched that channel before. They have a series called The War in Chirac. Yeah. No, not them. They don't, but they have a series about Chicago drill rap. Right. Basically that particular YouTuber. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of that stuff before. So I stopped watching about around the time when he caught up to Tuka getting murdered, and I was like, I knew most of the history after that. Yeah.
And that just goes to like it just affirmed to me what I had already felt, which was that a lot of people are just so far gone because of being products of their environment. Right. I wanted to, because I watched the whole thing and I wanted to almost, I hate isn't the right word, but I was heartbroken. That's what it was. I was heartbroken that this fellow was so far gone that he could do some of that stuff, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that even when brought out of that predicament, he was still so much a part of him. If you watch the rest of it, you was still so much a part of him that he just, and it's just fucking crazy. Yeah, man, what I was going to say was I had it on the itinerary, but I don't even really want to talk about it because it's one of them things, kind of like the in-house thing again, where it's just, it ain't nothing. There are things that you can obviously learn from it, but like it's, I don't know.
I guess for me, I have mixed emotions because on one hand, I was at a period in my life where I would sit and watch that shit all day long.
For sure.
You know
what
I'm saying? Like those type of documentaries.
For sure.
And just like one after the other.
Yeah.
I also don't think that I really like the fact that a white person is capitalizing off of black murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not just the black murder, because I feel like the murder is happening. And I also don't think that white people just report black murder. I think that we mostly experience white people reporting black murder, but my wife watches true crime all day. It is nothing but white people killing each other. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like just on crime TV. Yeah. So I don't, I was like, initially when I first clicked on it, I started watching, I was like, man, fuck, another one. But then it was like, yeah, well, okay, get off of that. Right. But I think it's stop killing each other. Like that's just,
And it's so like, that's the thing, bro. Like for me, it hurts my heart because it's so much deeper than that for them. Yeah. For them, for other people like that, where it's just like, it's not just killing each other. Like this is like, we're in this echo chamber where nothing exists but this. Like this is life. I only know this. This is the way that I've been programmed because of my condition. Mm. And you have people, because it took a lot of energy not to look at any of them like y'all some scumbag piece of shits. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That y'all can even, like, y'all just going around killing each other like y'all ain't got. But you have to realize that that's what they grew up in. Yeah. And that's why I said the whole thing about people outside of rap and hip hop culture. It's easy for them to digest it because they don't have to deal with the actual ramifications.
It took me a minute to understand at first I thought you were saying that the rappers didn't have to, but now I was understanding that you're saying that the people that enjoy it. Right. And
the vast middle, they don't have to actually deal with the ramifications. Yeah. So that music, that murderous talk, all of that shit hype, that shit seemed fun. Yeah. Like it's a part in the documentary where they were saying that some of what helped King Von blow up was when LeBron's son, posted a video or did something, shared one of King Von's shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and then LeBron posted a video. Like, these niggas ain't living that life.
Yeah, at all.
At all. You know what I'm saying? They ain't living that life at all. Yeah. And so it's like, they're so far removed from the actual ramifications of living that life. And we were so starstruck by King Von and at the height of his shit that we didn't understand that, oh no, this is just a shiny murderer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so we're heartbroken when the shit happens, when we get to see the actual ramifications, right? It's crazy because now we feel like it kind of happened to us because we had some attachment to it, and maybe in some weird way it needed to happen. Yeah. Not saying that he needed to die, but like I'm saying that people needed to see the real ramifications. And that actually brings us to the top of this list, where I'm very proud of the way that we don't think about this a lot. I think that Snowfall and Power have done a good job with this, but showing how that life don't last forever. Getting money like that don't last forever. Yeah. Working and operating like that don't last forever. You know what I'm saying? And essentially, Franklin had his fall, and people.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, fuck that. But he had his fall, and everybody was just like, dang, I hate it had to end for him like that. But it's like, you live this way for so long, it rarely turns out pretty. Yeah. And we see so many of these rappers that do make it out, not understanding the thousands of other people that never do. It was just a story. This just happened. Fucking a dude, I don't remember his name, but he was in jail in California, a rapper, 22 years old, got stabbed to death. Just in prison, jail, one or the other.
Yeah.
So once again, we get it's summed up right here. Bad heroes give glamour to flaws in character.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. We see these bad heroes that ended up making it. And we think that, oh, I can make it. Not understanding that, no, this is a rarity. This is a fluke. This is a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, so I don't feel. There's a lot to be said there. There's a lot to unpack there. Because I think that a lot of people, like you said, they don't have to deal with those ramifications. And if you've never grown up like with people around you dying, then, or if you've never known anybody to die violently, you know, and not just somebody passed of, you know, illness or they were old or, you know, whatever reason people die, like somebody to have actually been gunned down. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a different type of feeling. And I can't think of anybody in my immediate family or my immediate friends. I had like one friend or one person that I knew got shot to death, but we weren't like friends.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I do know somebody that got shot to death. We weren't like brothers or anything like that, but it was like somebody that I knew grew up with. I've known people that I grew up with that shot people, that murdered people. I know people that I grew up with that, you know, were murdered. I have family that's in jail for murder. Like, and I think that people don't realize that those people are never forgotten. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy for us to forget about them when it's not your family or when it's a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like King Von died. Cool. We was all sad for a minute, but the overwhelming majority of us are not thinking about that on the daily basis. Right. But like when it's your cousin or somebody that you played with or that you were at their house. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you hear, oh, buddy got shot in the head. And it's like all you can see sometimes is the last time you saw them, which may have been 10 years ago. Y'all could have been kids. So all you see is this kid getting shot in the head. Right. And like even that type of thing is trauma. And to even think about that person's family. Right. You know what I'm saying? The person that raised them or grew up with them or was raised by them. Right. And they're like, that's a void. I can't imagine. Like it breaks. I would start crying even talking about what would happen if my daughter had to live without me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't imagine that.
It's so much trauma in an echo chamber where it just happens over and over again. Yeah. And it's man.
It's like those are human beings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like these people like are and they're young.
Yeah.
They're kids.
Yeah. Kids killing each other, man.
They jumping off the porch at what did he say, 12 or 14? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about what you were doing at 12 and 14. Think about what you're 12 and 14. I work with a bunch of 12 and 14-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should not ever be killing anybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But that's the privilege that we have being, you know.
And that's why I was saying, that's why when you talk about stuff from the beginning, one of my goals is that I hope that I get that concept through people's heads. Like when you talk about something, talk about it from the beginning. Fuck how long it is. Talk about it from the beginning so that you can grasp the magnitude of your inevitable conclusion. When I say that people don't have to live with the ramifications, and what you're talking about, those are the ramifications of living that lifestyle. And you see like how disrespectful it kind of is to take that and kind of appropriate it to, I'm just having fun with it. I don't live that lifestyle, but I'm gonna bump this music and get crunk and all of this other stuff. Yeah, I guess helping them get paid. Yeah. But I don't want to pay somebody to disseminate that. Yeah. That's me. Like, it's so much music that I have that I'm never gonna release because of that. Like, and that's been a growing pain for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I have family that grew up in the hood. I was around the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm being honest when I say that I myself did not live in the shit. Yeah. And so, I've been with niggas that was on that raw shit. Yeah, I've been around this shit, but I had to grapple with myself and say, look, what do you want to do? What do you want to be known for? And I don't want to be known for disseminating that type of shit.
Yeah.
This might not age well.
Yeah.
But that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's like you said. It's like I still think that's a privilege because you know other shit to talk about.
For sure. It's most certainly a privilege. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't have no beef with starting this podcast. You know, because I want to teach people the little bit that I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get off rambling, but the concept that I'm talking about, I think, is very important. And sometimes it's kind of vague and hard to understand, like the talking about stuff from the beginning, making sure that you figure out anytime you're talking about a social issue, where to start fixing stuff at. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not gonna make no progress. You just hollering about shit. Yeah, man.
Michael Jackson said it best. The man in the mirror.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
That's where we start when we want to fix shit. Man.
Yeah. We're gonna have a little small intermission from this deep, heavy. This has been kind of a heavy podcast. Relatively.
A little bit.
Relatively. We're gonna take a quick intermission and we're gonna talk about some facts. Give you some lighthearted facts. Hell, this shit might depress you too.
I was gonna say that first one is
Walmart averages a profit of 1.8 million every hour.
That's so disrespectful.
That's very disrespectful. They make in an hour what most people, well, I don't know,
never make.
Do most people make $1 million over the course of their life?
I don't think so.
That's deep.
Yeah, I don't think most people see it. And also, could y'all put some more cashiers out? Yeah. We need help. Well, it'd be a whole lot of people stocking shit, but ain't nobody behind that damn register, bro. Like the self checkout is not that efficient, bro. It don't work.
He said it don't work. Fred just wants somebody to ring your shit up,
bro. I'm already paying for it. Now I gotta ring it up myself. Like it's crazy. It's so crazy. I go to the aisle just for that because if I'm finna pay all this money for these groceries, you gonna ring this shit up.
Damn.
And it's not even you, but it's Walmart. It's the concept.
The representative.
Yeah, it's the principle behind the matter. Like ring my shit up. Bro.
Yahoo is an acronym for yet another hierarchical official oracle. Hierarchical.
Like
wow, hierarchy. I'm going to have to say this again. Hierarchical.
I feel like the root word is like hierarchy, right?
Yeah, hierarchical. All right.
I don't know it.
Second take.
Yeah. Try that one again.
Oh shit.
We struggled through that one together, brother.
Yahoo is an acronym for yet another hierarchical fuck.
You ain't gonna make it through that one.
Official oracle. You know I just copied and pasted this shit. You know I see that. I said fact. Did not read this. Oh shit. Damn, I did step on my toes. I forgot I put that fact in there about the toilets. Anyway, every day, everything you say to Siri is sent to Apple, analyzed and stored. That's why I am afraid of AI. I'm not gonna lie. I'm more afraid of AI than nuclear war.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because like nuclear war, I'm not being tricked.
Yeah.
It's like if you bring the sun, okay, it's gonna hurt really bad. Yeah. Okay, but like you're tricking me, right? But like you're tricking me, bro. Like, bro, I don't know what's real.
Yeah,
that's existential. Yeah. Like that's deep. That causes you to question reality.
Yeah,
and I don't like that.
But it's like, is it reality? Because where are we seeing AI in real life? It's just online.
I'm just saying, yeah, but like eventually, what if it gets to that point where it's just like, it's like Eagle Eye. Have you ever seen Eagle Eye?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like Eagle Eye, where it's just like this thing in the Matrix, and it's following you around, and it's putting shit in your way, and it's just like putting signs up that say "Don't go here," and it's just like, Okay.
Yeah.
And as a regular person, what the fuck do you do with that?
Die.
it's just like you got. It's just fucking with you, bro.
I think we'll just evolve.
For sure, hopefully.
Like we're gonna evolve, bro. Like we won't die. We're gonna last forever. And I'm telling you, bro. Like people just, the end of the world is just the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's gonna change. It's gonna become something different. But your kids and your great grandkids will be fine. Just save
That's
your money.
actually, this is off topic, but that's actually why I'm not a let me say that again. That's actually why I'm not a big proponent of eschatology. I think that's the word for it. You know what eschatology is? Nope. Eschatology, let me make sure that I'm using that is the right word. I'm pretty sure it is. Eschatology is the belief in the end times. Like the belief that the world has like a set time that it's going to end. Right? Let me see. Eschatology. I know a lot of shit, but I couldn't say hierarchical. Yeah, concerned with death, judgment, and the final destination of the soul of humankind and all of this other stuff. I'm not a big proponent of that for this one. Like, this is what kind of got me off of that. So, this is, I guess, conserving place for my fourth fact. Back long time ago when motherfuckers was motherfucking. Technically considered the Dark Ages. The height of the Catholic Church and Christianity. I'm gonna keep talking. There's this place called Lesbian something. Sounds a lot like lesbian, and that's actually how I remember it. Lesbian, don't remember where it is. But what happened was they were having, I don't know if it was fucking, it was something was going on, and it had everybody, it was a religious day. And so everybody in the town was gathered at the church, and they had candles burning and all types of shit. Religious holiday. Well, what happened was there was a huge earthquake, 7 point something happened in the ocean. No, or maybe something erupted. I gotta go back and fucking read it. Anyway, long story short, a big boom happened. Everybody got scared. Oh yeah, it was an earthquake happened. Everybody got scared and they ran out of the building. The buildings and their homes. It wasn't just the church, but they ran out. That caused all of the candles to fall over and shit like that. And now you have this huge fire that's taking over the city. Not just the church, but it starts to spread and all, because everybody was participating, right? Well, that earthquake or whatever it was, might have been volcanic eruption, some shit. That shit caused a tsunami. So these people ran to the coast, because Lesbian is on the coast of whatever the fuck it is. They ran to the coast to get away from the fires, just to get swept away by the tsunami. And that particular event sparked the Age of Enlightenment, where people were starting to say, well, if God was going to come back, well, why would God do that to his people on this very religious day? And it basically to the point that you made about the world being over as we know it. Because for them, that's what the fuck it was. I mean, hell, they was out there celebrating and doing all their religious stuff, and shit got caught on fire, and then water came and took them away. And to them, that was the end. And some shit like that might happen to America, but you know what? I ain't gonna be around for it.
Or you might.
Shut up. Anyway. Oh man, that was a segue. I'm not gonna dunk on churches today, because I feel like we've talked about this. Has been a heavy enough podcast. I'm not even gonna talk about Jonathan Mayer's the domestic abuse scandal. I'm not even gonna talk about that because that's heavy. Let's talk about gay Bud Light not doing as well as straight Bud Light. Bud Light or Budweiser, one of them allegedly. The sales have dropped ever since they put the little put the rainbow or something on the can. Hey, but it's like I get trying to be inclusive.
I wouldn't buy a can with a rainbow on it either.
It ain't got nothing to do with gay shit though, right? It's just because like, what you doing?
Like, what exactly? Why is this here?
It's not. I don't think it got nothing. I think that people would not buy that can if it had a black fist on it.
First of all, anybody that's drinking Bud Light and Budweiser is not happy enough to want to see a rainbow.
Some people maybe, but like, I guess, and I don't know why they did it. I don't know why they did it. Maybe that's important. Maybe that's very important. But like, if it had a Black Lives Matter sign on it, I still think people would not buy that shit. It was like, you're too involved, bro. We just want you to sell us beer.
Yeah, literally.
Like you're trying to get too involved. I feel like it's not genuine because I feel like you're trying to profit off of like this movement.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. As soon as y'all start doing that type of shit, it's like, okay, now you're just trying to profit off of gay people.
Right.
And that's just not fair.
Right.
And it's dumb because people will actively not support shit. Like, if you want to support gay people, then just like take a percentage of the proceeds from a bunch of beer cans and donate it to some type of gay cause.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to make that funny, but like I didn't want to say gay research, but like some type of foundation that supports gay people. And
for
like,
sure.
And do it quietly. It doesn't have to be so loud. I think that's the thing. It's like when people record themselves giving money to homeless people. Like, I don't give a fuck that you did that.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm glad. So hopefully everybody understands now that the headline was not about gay people. It was about gay Bud Light and Budweiser trying to profit off of gay people. And that's why gay Bud Light is not doing as well as straight Bud Light. The rest of this shit, bro. It's heavy. This has been a heavy enough podcast. This has actually been a very good episode.
I saw a meme today. There was like, what was it, like one of them videos of TikTok or whatever, where there was like, what do you say, back when the word gay stopped meaning gay and started meaning, like it stopped meaning gay and started meaning gay. You know what I'm saying? Because like gay is supposed to mean happy or whatever.
Okay.
And it was just a video. I don't even have a conclusion to that statement. I just saw it and I thought it was really hilarious.
This nigga Fred is just giving irrelevant information.
It was, but it made me just wonder, like, who took the term and like changed it, and why?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they come up with a new name?
Yeah. Or like add an E instead of an A. Gay. Do you think the letter E is gayer than the letter A?
It depends.
I'm saying like in appearance. Nah, I think A is more metrosexual than E. I feel like E is very
I don't know, because A has a little curve on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like a capital A is pretty masculine, but what, lowercase a?
Yeah. And all E's are very harsh looking, like spiky and pointy.
I don't know. I feel like lowercase letters in general are just gayer. Like it, like the Happy Gang, right?
Yeah.
They have swivels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And it also depends on whether or not we're writing these letters in like print or cursive.
All cursive is gay. It's like, might as well be calligraphy. Like, I remember they tried to teach us calligraphy in 8th grade. That was some unmasculine shit. I was like, what am I doing with this pen writing all these weird ass, like, I was like, I would never need this. And she was like, you never know. You may have to sign. Sign what?
All I used to write in was cursive, bro.
Huh?
All I used to write, I still write in only cursive.
I mean, once they trained you to do it, it's hard not to.
Yeah, like I hate writing in print. I'm talking
about calligraphy though.
What is calligraphy?
calligraphy is what you see like on your graduation certificate. The words that look like fancy ass cursive.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers can like, well, that used to be a skill where they would literally write that shit out. People had whole careers off of writing calligraphy.
Until like we automated that shit and AI took over.
Until motherfuckers made a printer. Printer ended your shit, bro.
The bane of your curse this printing machine. They say
the typewriter came out. It was like, they can't fuck with me, bro. They came out with that inkjet. Ooh,
over with for your career.
Smack
Damn, that shit fire.
Made me glad I ain't listened to that lady. I used to be mad at calligraphy class, bro. What the fuck am I doing this for?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish because we got a lot of sad shit to cover real fast. Yeah, it's a lot of sad shit. Harry Belafonte, man, passing away at age 96, man. He was let me just go to his thing so that I make sure that I say everything right, because I have not been at my best today at saying shit. I just want to make sure that I'm giving him his proper flowers. Was an American singer, actor, activist who popularized calypso music and international audience in the 1950s. Basically he was fire as fuck back in the day. Revolutionary. He was just a great dude, man. I highly encourage everybody to look into him. Once again, I'm trying to get off of this sad shit, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But Harry Belafonte, man. Belafonte. It'd be really terrible if I'm pronouncing his name wrong.
No, I think you got it right, Belafonte.
Yeah, I think so too. I've always heard Belafonte, so
me too.
Anyway, Jamie Foxx's medical emergency, man. Y'all keep Jamie Foxx in your thoughts, man. You know, once you get a certain age, them strokes, especially if he
had a stroke.
Allegedly, something going. It was some head something. So yeah. Tyrese ordered to pay $636,000 for child support. So, real quick, let me tell y'all this. If y'all want a hoe, I ain't got no problem with that. I'm talking about men. If you want to put your dick in everything, I ain't got no problem with that. I actually don't give a fuck what you do as long as you're ready to deal with the consequences. But if you want to kill somebody, I highly discourage it. However, if you do decide to, be ready to deal with the consequences of it. All of this, and I'm not saying that Tyrese is a hoe. I'm not saying that. I'm not tying that to Tyrese. What I'm saying is this. This is for all of the people who are hoeing, so that you don't end up in his predicament. Not saying that he got there by hoeing, but it's just the concept that I see a lot of dudes who are mad at the world about child support, mad at the world about this, that, and the third. And can women be predatory with that? Absolutely. I'm not saying that is right. But this is one of those things where I feel like men have this gripe because there's a privilege that we once had that's been taken away that a lot of us weren't even around to really experience.
I was gonna say, what was that privilege?
Being able to fuck and leave the kid or without any repercussions.
Oh yeah.
You know? And so it's like the alternative is that. The alternative is leaving these broken families without having the needs that they need. Now, if we want to pass legislation so that you don't have women taking half of men's shit, that they getting $500,000 a month type shit like that most certainly is absurd.
Like when I think about what you just said, like that's a crazy type of impression or a crazy way to feel. Because you said a right was taken away, and it was like the right to create a family and leave.
Yeah. But like
that's hilarious.
But like that's the alternative if we don't have the thing. So
child support.
Yeah, if we don't have child support, right? And so it's not about Tyrese's situation. Tyrese's situation is more of a caveat for this concept. If you are going to hoe, you need to be sure that one, you're financially capable of hoeing. Mm-hmm. If you want to hoe raw. Mm-hmm. If you're not financially capable, not only do I think that you shouldn't be hoeing raw, I don't even think you should be nutting around these women.
You shouldn't be doing nothing.
You shouldn't be doing nothing.
You should be going to work.
I have been known what Alfonso from Fresh Prince Carlton, he was on stage, I guess he was drunk. He said, I have been known to fuck some white women in my lifetime. Hold on, I'm gonna pull that shit up. Hold on, cause you gotta see this shit, bro. Alfonso, white women. That's all you gotta talk. That's all you gotta type in, bro. Oh damn, you ain't gonna be able to see it. I'm finna shoot it to you.
Okay.
Going crazy. Look, I have been known to be a nasty motherfucker in my lifetime. On this last podcast,
I'm dying.
Malcolm and my wife both said they used to be worried about me because I was doing some raunchy shit in 2018 and around and abroad.
Damn, bro.
Everybody knows that Juwan is a nasty motherfucker. But let me tell you what I was not doing. And if people always thought I was weird when it was like, what? I was not nutting around these women. I would have a girlfriend, not nut. I had a girl stop talking to me because she started feeling insecure because I would not nut around her. I do not want to get you pregnant.
Like you wouldn't.
Nope. I would take that information back to my quarters and I'd jack off myself. That's how serious I was.
You would be fucking a girl and you would stop.
I would make sure that she was satisfied. And after everything was over, I would go and I would replay the thing in my head and I would do it like that. That is how adamant I was. That is how adamant. I don't give a fuck. I'm very based about it. That's how adamant I was about. I am not about to have no kids.
Bro, we were so different.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Look, I want people to understand just how serious I am about that. I was not about to have no kids, bro.
That's crazy.
I was petrified, not of having kids, but when I would think in my mind, I'm like, dang, I'm doing this. Could I imagine dealing with you for the rest of my life as my child's mother? That would be enough.
Bruh.
Oh, that would be enough, bro. Like, no.
See,
no.
I'm shallow. I was more on some like, if I had to tell people that you were my child's mother, would I be embarrassed?
Yeah.
Like just from a purely physical aspect.
No, for sure. That's it too.
You know, like
that's it too.
But that would just keep me from doing it altogether. Like I wouldn't just do it.
But no. I would. That's why I said I'm still nasty.
If she was cute enough for me to want to be like, okay, I'll take that chance. Boy.
Nah. I ain't. To be fair, like I have never like nailed no ugly chick. Not on nothing like that, but like it's more of would I be embarrassed after you open up your mouth and speak? Because I've always been like I've always felt as though I was an intellectual type motherfucker. I never wanted to be like folks to be like, damn, Juwan got her pregnant. See,
I came from I don't want to call it a broken home, but my dad had multiple baby mamas. I just knew you ain't got to deal with all the mothers.
Look, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was scared. I was more afraid of having a child by someone I did not want to spend the rest of my life with than I cared about that little small 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Although
that's fair.
Although some of those 15 seconds were nice when in condom form, I still rarely did that.
Boy.
I rarely did that. And once again, folks looked at me crazy. But guess who ain't got no kids? That I ain't want. Guess who has a lovely wife now, and I be
That's cool.
Be going crazy. Hey, paint that motherfucker like goddamn.
Facts, man.
Yeah. Now it's on, but like, nah, bro, nah.
That's fair.
I'm not even necessarily a proponent of marriage. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's about I was once I looked at her and I was just like, yeah, you could be my kid's mother. We could coexist and get along and make money together. And I feel like everything would always be everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I felt it was more of that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, man, look, no, bro, you are not about to catch me out here paying child support to somebody I don't even want to be with no more.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit crazy to me. But
yeah.
But see, I also understood that, and I've understood this thing for a long time, that as it pertains to this whole thing with child support is necessary, because it's dudes that just be nutting in these women and think that ain't no repercussions for it.
Yeah.
And I was just not going to fall into that trap.
Yeah. I think you just have to remember, like, sometimes people do it the right way and still end up paying child support.
Oh, for sure. This doesn't apply to them. This doesn't apply to them. Let me also say what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that if you do it my way that you are 100% guaranteed.
Boy.
Yeah.
That's a conversation people gotta have too.
Yeah.
Before you start having kids, like how you want to raise them.
Yeah.
You got in a rough situation, and once they hear, my nigga. Like
you start having kids turn out like designer. Nigga was allegedly masturbating in front of the flight attendants. He got arrested. What you doing, bro?
No, you cannot be that famous getting arrested for shit like that. Unacceptable.
If I was that famous, if I had that kind of money, I probably would do it as like a prank.
No.
Like just to be like, damn, that nigga Wolf Beezy got arrested. Wolfban gets arrested for masturbating on him.
No, because then you're a sex offender for life.
Oh yeah, you are a sex offender. See, to me that's not like
life.
Like, okay, I guess that is a sexual offense.
Absolutely a sexual offense. Which I'm not sure why.
Because in my mind, like a sexual offense, I'm like, I didn't do anything to anybody, but
close your eyes.
Right,
if you don't want to see it. Look away.
But I get it. Yeah, it's like if there are rules to sex.
Yeah.
If like it's like me saying I didn't foul you, but I did travel. So it's an offense on the court. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, it's stupid just because it's just like people act like once the dick got pulled out that they were just like paralyzed. They couldn't move. Like he had them in a trance or some shit. Like look away.
Yeah, like
look away. Walk away. It's a plane.
Let that man pleasure himself.
Take it as a compliment.
But I feel like this. I feel like one of the greatest tragedies that all religion has done it's the idea that I feel like we've gotten this idea, and boy, I'm finna get nailed to the cross with this one, no pun intended. I feel like religion has made us look at sex as only this holy act. And whether you agree or disagree, I don't care. Not you, I'm talking about people in general. Whether people agree with me or disagree with me, it's not about that. It's about the idea that there are this is a fact. You can have, so obviously there are larger ramifications. Like sex is more of something that you have to be responsible with, but you can use it in the same way that you can go out to eat with someone. You can go out to eat with someone and it not mean shit. Mm-hmm. You can have sex with somebody and it not mean shit. Obviously, one is more dangerous than the other. Not saying it is not. You could go out to eat with somebody and it mean everything. And so I feel like we've added an intrinsic meaning to it that is not reflected in the way that it's always been used. Because historically, people have had sex for various reasons. And I feel like we've put this pressure on people to view sex, especially women, as this thing that if you do, you are now not as valuable or some shit like that. Now, once again, I feel like all of this only matters so far as you care about it. So if you care about that and you really, are gung-ho about only one a virgin, okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you. But the idea that it's just intrinsically true, that's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with the idea that you feel like the woman, her value meter has gone down intrinsically. It's just you don't like the shit. Just say you don't like the shit. Quit trying to imprint the shit onto the actual person. Because the thing about this is, and this is kind of a line that you said when you said something about something only doesn't matter if you not going outside. Like if you standing out, if you don't know what her body count is, it might as well be 0. And as in the words of one of my fellow homies, everybody a virgin when I get old. Hey, so it don't. Hey, so it just don't fucking matter. I've never cared about. Well, I'm not gonna say I've never cared. In recent years, I've not cared about that at all. You can look at me however you want to, but I'm very based about life.
I don't know.
I'm very chill.
I disagree. I think body count absolutely matters in men and women, though, not just in women.
I think the quality of the person matters. Because if you've only had sex with, and I'm going to be misogynist for a second, if a woman has only had sex with like 4 dudes, and I see the dudes and they all look like homeless people, I'm going to be like, bitch, what? And you want me? No, bro. Like, no. But like, if you've, and maybe this might be gay of me to say, but if I see where like you've had like 12 boyfriends and you fucked all 12 of them, or 20, you fucked all 20 dudes. And it's just like every time I come in contact, and this is some stupid ass shit. This is a very contrived example. But if I come in contact with them, I'm like, oh, you're a nice dude. I'm not going to be as offended that, you feel what I'm saying?
If he has good taste, you're okay.
Yeah, like if you have good taste.
Like if all these guys came before me, I gotta be a catch.
Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? Just like I get it. Like, okay, well, whatever. It's like the same reason why I feel like girls are more offended if you cheat on them with an ugly bitch with a big ass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, absolutely. It's like, oh, you cheated on me with that? Yeah. Like, at least make me understand it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel that. I think that like it matters only because, and yeah, quality matters, but I think that at some point
you don't need to just have 50.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to keep coming across people.
I get that. I get that.
Like, and then you live in a small town. It's like I may have to work with this nigga. Like,
I think that's a huge part of it. I feel like that's like maybe one of the premier guiding tenets of where that ideology comes from. The idea that maybe it's a small town and we as people are only meant to like engage with like 15 or 20 people in a tribe versus now we are in these big cities, so we still have this small tribe mentality. Yeah. Whereas like you fuck 15 people, that's the whole tribe. Yeah. That's every nigga in the tribe.
Yeah. And I don't know, like I don't want to say like where is your value, but like what is left for me if this many people have had you this intimate?
Gotta be creative.
That's fair, but like like
no, I get you because I don't. So let me say this: I understand. I think that I just got to a point to where I realized that it was a me thing, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. Because I think that things that matter because we care. Yeah. And so for that reason, I just stopped caring. I was like, this is too stressful. I'm not going to care about this.
Yeah. I think you definitely have to. Like, you can't care about it. It can't be something that you care about unless you care about it.
Yeah. And then when you do care about it, you're like on path to like having like more of a likelihood of having a stroke and shit.
But it's like, no, just find somebody who also find you a virgin, and then don't sit around bitching and complaining about the amount of modern women that are out here living their lives, and just be willing to accept the fact you're probably gonna die alone. Because
this is the thing to me. So this is the biggest hypocrisy, the biggest contradiction to me. Mm-hmm. Men will say a woman in 35 with a kid is less valuable than some 22, 23, 24-year-old. You need it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's my daughter FaceTiming me. My bad.
Nah, we keeping this.
It's bedtime. Hey, girl.
Yes.
Yes. I'm still on the podcast. We're literally recording right now.
Are you about to sing?
No. Oh, because you see the microphone? No, I'm not about to sing. Huh? What you say? Oh, the microphone is so that I can record. You wanna stay here for the rest of it? All right, I'm gonna put you on mute.
We can censor the rest of the podcast so it's kid friendly.
What? My kid is a thug, bro. She probably talks worse than you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to mute you. What's going on here? Yeah, I see it.
Boy, kids.
I see it. Bruh, I'm gonna tell you something about kids, bro. They don't give a fuck about nothing.
I know.
I be on whole stages, and she'll walk up to me with a camera directly in my face and then be like, "Scoot over, daddy," or sit on my lap. I got a keyboard right in front of me, bro. Yeah. Like, at Panoply, like the whole concert. She don't care. This is my nigga though. All right.
Wow, this is gonna be a long podcast.
I'm dead, bruh. Cause what time did I get here? I feel like I almost got here on time today.
You did. We started at like 8:15.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this has been a long. It's 2.5 hours side.
Man, keep it. I'm just playing. All right, hold on real quick. We finna. I'm gonna call you back.
I ain't gonna hold you too much longer, Doc. I know it's been a long time. Normally we'd be done and out of this motherfucker. All I was finna. Oh, is your daughter off? Is your daughter off the phone?
Hell no.
Dang.
I don't know. Like, I honestly, truly do not know how to mute this shit. I don't understand what's going on. Okay, well, you can stay for the rest. Just don't say nothing else, okay? Just let me talk. Let me cook. All right. I think mommy muted it for us. But yeah, so, sorry.
Nah, all I was gonna say was, y'all funny. All I was gonna say was, due to say that a woman in her 30s and older is devalued, and not devalued, but like her options are small.
Yeah,
her options are, you're not gonna get this high value man. But they then say that they want women with low body counts, and to me that makes your dating pool small. You kind of get what I'm saying. It's just like you're saying that a woman that wants this, your dating pool is smaller. Essentially, you say it in a deleterious and derogatory way by saying that you devalued, but whatever. But then turn around and say that you want women with low body counts and all of this other stuff and young girls, and it's just like there are a lot of young girls. How many of them have? Well, I don't know. People aren't having the bumping game as often as they used to, so maybe. But to me, it kind of seems like this thing where your dating pool is also small.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like righteously the dating pool, the amount of quality people left in the dating pool, slim to none.
And why do you even want to find somebody playing that game? Like, the game is about sex. It's not about finding a life partner
at all.
Like if your goal is to date and to find a life partner, you're not going to find a life partner. Your chances of doing it are very slim unless you get on like a dating app or something like that. But like going to the clubs and going to these, like, you're not going to find a life partner. Like most people marry each other, and this has been said thousands of times. Most people marry each other that have the same or that meet in a similar occupation, that meet in a similar whatever. And yeah, so let me end this real fast. Designer masturbating on the plane. R.I.P. to Jerry Springer, man. Jerry Springer, the legend. I wanted to do, and I'll probably come back next week or something and do a little Jerry Springer tribute or something like that. That's Jerry Springer, man. We have to celebrate. We have to celebrate the passing of Carolyn Bryant, the lady that lied on Emmett Till. She passed away. And I don't have a lighter.
She gotta die of
to
old age.
Celebrate. Yeah, that's shit. There's so much that could be unpacked, and I may actually just make a video or an extra podcast segment talking about all of this other shit.
Absolutely.
Should
absolutely talk about that. And Jerry Springer was a culture vulture.
Yeah. All of this ties in. Klansman Thomas Robb, supposedly he was the leader of a whatever. He died at 77. So it's been a lot of very acceptable death
by really old racists.
Jimmy Butler put the Bucks out. You don't be watching basketball like that, do you?
Nah, but I saw the headlines. Him talking about his daughter.
Yeah. He put the Bucks. Long story short, it was an upset because the Bucks got the Greek freak. Their team aesthetically is better than the Heat, but Jimmy Butler just been going crazy. Jimmy
was a dog back when I was watching basketball. So
you know what? Y'all actually remind me of each other.
I don't know how I feel about that.
No, I'm not saying like maybe not in looks, but I feel like in demeanor. In demeanor. That's you know fair. What I'm saying? Like y'all both like chill.
Sometimes I feel like, I guess the similarities that I see is like, to me, he looks like a thug, but he talks like a privileged little prep school.
I think that's probably what it is too. Like y'all both just chill. I feel like y'all both got the same kind of facial hair. The same kind of whatever. Y'all be chill.
You chilling.
Y'all fire. Yeah. Just like, I feel like if you played basketball, you'd be Jimmy Butler. Bruh. Like you be on the team and like y'all think y'all gonna sleep on the team and then Fred just come out getting buckets. You're like, when did Fred start turning on?
X Factor head.
Yeah, Devin Booker went crazy the other night too. There's been a lot of good stuff going on in the sports world. But man, it's been a long podcast. I'm tired. Fred got a baby on the phone.
Bro, like this nigga's walking around her room trying to like show me shit in the dark.
Oh, Fred got his daughter on the phone, man. We're gonna get Fred home.
Man.
Get Fred home to his wife.
That's why she's calling, bro.
And his daughter. And you know what? It's been a good episode. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to All Facts Podcast. I don't even know which one of these cameras is on, so I'm just going to look this way at you. I appreciate you for coming on the show. I appreciate you for coming on the show, bro. I appreciate everybody that's listening. I appreciate everybody that's watching. If I'm looking awkward, it's because I don't know which camera is on it, even on at this point, because it's been a minute since anybody checked on. So, with that having been said, this is All Facts Podcast, the show where we give educated and insightful opinions based off of facts. And hopefully at the end of the show or at the end of a take or at the end of anything that we say, we have y'all saying facts right along with us. You feel what I'm saying? Be warned, though, as you listen to the show, that some facts may be hard to swallow. This has been another episode of the All Facts Podcast. Do you have a fact?
Oh,
I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't, but I can probably pull one out my ass.
I was looking up some facts about soap today. Don't ask me what my gripe is, what soap is, but I have a legitimate one. And I found a whole list of facts that I found interesting, but this one in particular, it says And I may forward you this list so they can see how they just buried this amongst all these other facts about soap. It says a single bar of commercial soap may contain over 20 toxic ingredients, many of which have been connected to cancer, endocrine issues, skin problems, and more. But the fact right in front of it said the earliest known soap was made by the Babylonians around 2800 BC. And right after it said liquid soap was patented by the American William Shepard in 1865. And I'm just saying those two to show you how trivial all the other facts were around that one that says soap can give you cancer. Like,
on the good note, though, I feel like we have this like idea in our heads that people in the olden times were musty. It's good to know that like they've been like soap's been around for a while.
That's fair, but it says like the first one was made out of like animal fat, and I don't know.
That probably stank.
Yeah, I don't know if it was good.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie to you. I do not have a fact.
I get all the boxes.
He said. I do have one.
Minus one box.
You cannot see something until the light from the thing bounces off of it and hits your eyes. Right? It takes light. Light can travel the distance of the Earth's equator 7 times in 1 second. It takes light 8 minutes, 8 and some change, to get from the sun to Earth. So when you look at the sun, it's almost like getting mail 8 minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the sun, you're looking at what was going on 8 minutes ago. Our closest star is 2 and some change light years away. So when you look at it, you're looking at what it was 2 and some change years ago. And when you look at all of the stars, you're looking at different images of different periods in time throughout time. And we just take it for granted because our brains all we are designed to do is like eat and have sex, so we can't comprehend that. Oh, is your phone muted? Hey man, with that we finna get out of here, man. I appreciate you, man, for another episode, another Wolf and Fred episode, man. We doing good.
Gang,
And we out, man.